illegal immigrants per day crossed our border last week. What they didn't see is the migrants the Biden administration is sneaking into the U.S. Under this stealth program, illegal immigrants can fly directly from their hometowns into a U.S. city of their choice. They use the Biden administration's smartphone app to choose a destination. They meet with U.S. officials at land ports of entry, like international airports, where they're waved in by U.S. Customs. They then fly to any city they please. According to the Center for Immigration Studies, more than 210,000 migrants have entered America this way since January. We've effectively added Des Moines, Iowa, or Rochester, New York to our country in less than a year. No country that cares about its own citizens or the rule of law does business this way. It needs to stop. I'm Carol Platt-Lebo.
Dan Proft here for Northridge Prep. Northridge Prep is a great place to be a boy. What does that mean exactly? In short, it's thanks to a foundation of an all-boys environment that builds your son up into a man of intellect and character who loves God. The teachers and faculty members become mentors to students. And when you combine that with an atmosphere that's fun, competitive, and challenging, it creates an exceptional experience for your son. And the result is that the boys just love Northridge. They've been educating boys for nearly 50 years. And one of the things that stands out to me is their commitment to partnering with parents. Now, you hear this a lot with schools, but at Northridge, the parents can't stop talking about it. They built a community that really works together. Raising kids is difficult these days, and at Northridge, you can be confident your son is on the right path. They're having an open house on Sunday, October 22nd, for boys in grades 6 through 12. Register today at northridgeprep.org. Again, that open house is Sunday, October 22nd. Register at northridgeprep.org.
512 on AM 560, The Answer. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of Macy's Backstage. What will you find at Macy's Backstage? Well, here's a hint. Fall finds for $25 and under, like blazers, cozy sweaters, jackets, and more. Find the latest trends, new arrivals at a Macy's Backstage store near you. Let's update the inbound Dan Ryan. They have now reduced what they have closed down. It's inbound between 31st and Canalport. So what is shut down on the inbound side is between 31st and Canalport. You're diverted off at Canalport. The inbound Stevenson does have access to the Dan Ryan. This is all due to major accidents, 10 cars crashing, and it's a fuel spill they have found out that caused the slick road conditions. So right now, crews are trying to improve traction there before they reopen the inbound Dan Ryan, again shut down between 31st and Canalport. I-57 inbound is closed between 111th and Halstead. Fatal single-vehicle rollover accident with ejection continues to be investigated there. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Today, mostly cloudy with a couple of showers, thunderstorm and high 67. Some rain this evening, then cloudy, low 63. A shower in spots tomorrow morning, then clouds and some sun. The high tomorrow at 71. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Right now, we're seeing cloudy skies and 64 degrees at O'Hare, 65 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update, 5:30. Chicago's Morning Answer starts next on AM 560, The Answer.
Men.
And women.
It's sometimes hard to talk about, but it takes a real toll on your life. Pelvic floor issues. What is that?
Pelvic pain, rectal pain, pain with intimacy, pelvic organ prolapse, painful or loss of bladder or bowel control, overactive or underactive bladder, and constipation.
Good news. Cotorinos Physical Therapy pioneered many of the physical therapy approaches to drastically change the problems you are dealing with without drugs. Strategies to fix the problem. It's time to make the call and have a conversation.
630-620-0232. Don't feel like there's nothing you can do, because there is.
Pelvic floor issues can affect your sleep, your activities, and your life. Cotorinos Physical Therapy has been helping people for over 46 years. It's their specialty.
They simply know more about it. They successfully treat men and women of all ages, and they can help you too. Call and ask about your issues.
Cotorinos Physical Therapy, 630-620-0232. Go to pelvictreatment.com.
Pelvictreatment.com. 3 Chicagoland locations.
An informed and educated citizenry is the only guarantee to preserve our constitutional republic. And each week, you'll hear from experts, not pundits, and find out what's really happening, from local issues to national politics. Listen to The Real Story with Jeannie Ives. There's no topic of public policy concern that she won't talk about. Stop the lies. Learn the truth. Join the conversation. Sunday night at 7, right here on AM 560. The Answer.
Do you really want to take shots the rest of your life just to lose weight? NJ Diet's typical results are twice as fast as weight loss injections without any of the side effects. Plus, you learn proper portion control and develop healthy eating habits. With NJ Diet's 40-day program, you'll lose 20 to 40-plus pounds, contractually guaranteed. Lose weight quickly the healthy and natural way with NJ Diet. Locations in Skokie and Oak Brook. Call 855-5NJ-DIET or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
When you're serious about your concealed carry training and education and are ready to learn from an active police officer with a teaching degree, check out Illinois Concealed Carry Training in Midlothian. You'll learn safe, responsible firearm use, home defense planning, conflict avoidance, situational awareness, and how to remain physically, morally, and financially safe in the event you must use your firearm in self-defense or the defense of another. Weekday and weekend classes available.
I'm Sergeant Gary Carr, police firearms trainer and the owner of Illinois Concealed Carry Training. We'll arm you with what really counts: knowledge and training. All concealed carry curriculums are not created equal. This may be the single most important decision you'll ever make for yourself and your loved ones. Choose between 3 and 16-hour classes that are available both weekdays and weekends. We are your one-stop for concealed carry classes, fingerprints, and legal defense plans.
Register for a class today and get 10% off class fees with promo code AM560. Visit IllinoisConcealedCarry.com. That's IllinoisConcealedCarry.com.
It seems like everyone is on a complicated diet these days. Gluten-free, keto, metabolic, sugar-free. And with these diets comes special dietary protocol and food products. You can find plenty of advice on your social media sites, but you need expertise to purchase the right food items. A visit to Lil's Dietary Specialty Shop is necessary to shop the best food choices for a medical diet or health plan. Lil's Dietary Specialty Shop stocks all the hard-to-find foods you're looking for, like wheat and dairy alternatives, sugar-free baking mixes, healthy snacks, and more. There's no longer a reason to put off that diet you're supposed to be on when you have Lil's. The staff has personally researched and vetted each item in the store and has plenty of choices in stock.
Lil's Dietary Specialty Shop on 111th Street in Mount Greenwood on the south side of Chicago. Stop in and shop in person or order online at lilsdietary.com and get your items shipped right to your home. lilsdietary.com. Shop, learn, and be healthy.
This hourly segment is brought to you by NJ Diet. Lose 20 to 40 pounds in just 40 days. Call 855-NJ-DIET or NJDiet.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. And yesterday we got a bit of a preview of the testimony that was going to be provided to the House Judiciary Committee Field Forum on Crime that visited Chicago, the FOP headquarters on the near west side. Jim Jordan and Andy Biggs and company. No Democrats, of course, they're boycotting because this is just a political stunt. Okay, fine.
Oh, really? NBC said they weren't invited. I do believe they said that. So, okay.
No.
All right. Maybe I got that wrong. I'll recheck my notes.
Anyway, so John Garrido, retired Chicago police lieutenant, was with us yesterday to give a preview of his testimony and sort of a sense of what the hearing would provide. And we'll get to that. But before we get to that, the backdrop of this hearing and all of the international attention Chicago is getting is the lawlessness on our streets. So I thought this press conference yesterday at the 10th District CPD headquarters was interesting. This is a press conference that was cobbled together by the family of Trinity Washington and, the community activist set. Trinity Washington is an 11-year-old who was assaulted, beaten up. She said
broke her nose.
She had 2 surgeries. This is Trinity at that press conference yesterday.
Recovering from a second surgery, appeals for peace amid her pain.
To see my family go through this is so hard right now. I just don't want to go through this anymore.
I was wondering what happened to her.
Yeah, well, here's what happened.
After the girl and her family were allegedly the target of a racial slur. Then the girl was attacked by 2 women September 17th.
Racial slur, huh? The police response, the point of the press conference was to complain about the police response.
The group gathered today questioned why they say police didn't respond to the incident immediately. And on Saturday, Washington's mother says someone related to the alleged perpetrators threatened her at gunpoint. She and a 10th District Council member say police again were delayed in responding.
My house have not been the same since this happened. School, she missed school. She tells me all the time. She miss her friends. It's just so hard.
That's Trinity Washington's mom. So police response delayed in the initial beating that Tiffany Washington took that resulted in 2 surgeries, as you said, and then delayed when there was this threat made against them by, allegedly, by a family member of the original perpetrators, the people who beat Trinity Washington up.
This story does not make sense to me at all.
Well, I
don't understand who the perpetrator, who these girls were. Were they schoolmates? Were they older women? And women don't just attack 11-year-old girls, regardless of what skin color they have. That's just a very bizarre thing.
There are arrests made in this case.
Okay, that's...
Chicago police confirm a woman was arrested in connection with the girls' beating and charged with aggravated battery to a child. And a man was arrested for allegedly threatening the girl's mother on Saturday. He is charged with aggravated assault, use of a deadly weapon. Regarding questions about response times or upgrading charges to hate crimes, CPD tells us this investigation is active and ongoing.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. You can also reach us all morning long on our text line, 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
So this is an example of the systemic, since that's a favorite word, a favorite adjective of the left, systemic failure to provide for public safety. And this includes police. And I'm not talking about the response time. Number one, and I'm obviously including Leah Hope, ABC7, and the rest of the network affiliates in this town, these dum-dums in
everyone covered it.
What constitutes news.
Everyone's mic.
A racial slur may be upgraded to a hate crime. They have people in custody. Well, I'll tell you what happened.
Yeah, because no one there asked, what happened? What are you alleging? What is a racial slur?
The people that are accused of beating up Tiffany Washington and covering or threatening them if they work with police, they're black.
Didn't get that from Channel 5 or Channel 7.
Why do you think that she's not identifying the race of the perpetrator? Why do you think that, hate crime is still a possibility even though they have people in custody? It's so disingenuous. It's purposely misleading. That's number one. Number two, rather the CPD response about, children being victimized by crime breaks our heart and so on and so forth. Stop with the emotional bull jive. We don't need it. And it doesn't do Tiffany Washington or her family any good either.
Well, shame on them for dragging their daughter out.
Can I just finish?
Yes.
Would you just talk to people like adults? Can anybody in the city talk to people like adults? Let me explain to you, all of you assembled at the 10th District, why who are complaining about our response times. Let me tell you about our response times. Yeah, and by the way, where's ABC7 providing the context or any other now? Wire points. The number of 9/11 call backlog periods for Chicago police tripled between 2019 and 2022. We know from wire points as well that both last year, the last 2 years for which data is available, you've had about 50% of level 1 and level 2 911 calls go unresponded to. So let me explain to you, I'm not Tiffany, but Tiffany's family and you phony community activists wanting to put this on police for response time, even though we have people in custody in the case, both cases.
Which rarely happens.
Let me explain to you. We're down 1,700 officers. We're not allowed to do things that we want to do because of the civilian political authorities. Do you support BLM Brandon? Did you support Triple Threat? Do you support the aldermen and the communities in which you live? Why don't you ask them? Why don't you ask them about the civilian political leadership in the city and the resources we're given and the directives we have to operate under, and then tell me about response times. I'm sorry this happened to Tiffany Washington. She just looks like a sweet young girl, and it's a terrible thing. This isn't the point. The point is to the adults, knock it off. You want to be treated like kids? Then go to City Hall. You want to be treated like silly kids? Go to City Hall and have somebody else pander on your behalf. At the police, we're going to lay it straight. We're going to tell you how it is. And you make decisions about what kind of neighborhood and city you want to live in. That's the backdrop of that committee hearing yesterday. Not statistics. This death cult that we have in power in Chicago, in Cook County, in the state of Illinois. And the complete lack of adult leadership in the state writ large. Nobody can say anything that's honest. It's all I'm empathizing and I'm emotionally with you and I'm as hurt as you are and all this other sentimental nonsense. And people tolerate and they love it. I just want to be heard. Just feel my pain. How about we do something about your pain? And it starts with you understanding the source of the pain. Jordan in Antioch.
Good morning, Dan. Good morning, Amy. Yep, you're absolutely right. But, somebody put these people in power, and they continue to put them there. And these people that keep voting for them, and I'm sure Tiffany's or whatever her name's mom and dad, I'm sure they all voted for all the people that are responsible for it. And unfortunately, they're victims of their own mentality. They're slaves to these people, and I know that's a horrible word to say, but they are. They're slaves to these people. They allow them to objectify them, to victimize them, and they're happy to be the victim. They're happy to be the victim. They enjoy it. It's just
let's not go over the line here. Thanks for the coach.
Well, do you want to know what happened?
Tiffany Washington's not enjoying being a victim.
No, she's not. And she is an honor student. She's head of cheerleading. She's in 6th grade at her school.
It's not about her.
No, I know. But she and her mom were out late because their neighborhood hosted a Mexican Independence Day celebration, and they got into it with 2 ladies in the neighborhood. I don't know what was said. I don't know what the racial slur was, a bad word. And they stepped on her 3-month-old Yorkie dog, and so there's more to this story.
That's not.
But
more
it was
to the
not
story.
a white
Doesn't matter
on black crime.
Yeah, that
at all.
What matters is you can't challenge anybody in this city. You're just supposed to, I mean, depending on, again, their political persuasion and their story and so forth, you're just supposed to victim signal with them, and you're supposed to just agree with whatever protest they're making. I don't agree. I mean, yeah, I wish the police times were 15 seconds for every crime in the city.
But people are getting, I'm sorry, people are getting carjacked, and they have to wait 2+ hours for people to show up.
The point is, this CPD is part of the problem. At least the comms part of it. CPD is part of the problem. Blah, blah, blah. I agree with you. It's so bad, blah, blah. Look, here is the situation. What do we have to communicate for you to understand the situation? And that's what John Garrido and Carlos Llanes tried to communicate at that hearing yesterday. Something that doesn't get communicated in this city. And we'll have them at 5:38.
Now let's head into that newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
64 degrees at 5:31. More than 100 are dead, 150 injured, all after a fire at a wedding party in Iraq. It happened in the province of Nineveh Tuesday night. Emergency workers continue to search the charred remains of the event hall for survivors. The Writers Guild of America strike is over. After 148 days, the board and councils voted to unanimously lift the strike. New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez is set to appear in a Manhattan courtroom today on federal bribery and corruption charges. He'll be arraigned along with his wife and 3 co-defendants. The Senate has voted to advance a short-term funding bill to avoid a government shutdown. The bipartisan measure released Tuesday would keep money flowing until mid-November to give Congress more time for a long-term package. Poland is beginning the process of extraditing a former Ukrainian Nazi veteran who has lived in Canada since the 1950s. Poland's embassy in Ottawa confirmed the move against 98-year-old Yaroslav Hunka yesterday. That after receiving a standing ovation in Canada's parliament last Friday. Anthony Rota, Canada's House Speaker, resigned yesterday amid mounting outrage. More than 1,000 children have gone missing in northern Ohio this year. John Majoy is chief of police in Newburgh Heights, as well as president of Cleveland Missing.
We don't want to send out some scathing alarm that there's like a serial abductor out there. Our kids are just vanishing off the streets. You know, it's safe to say that the vast majorities are, in fact, runaways.
That being said, he stressed that doesn't mean they may not be in danger. In the Cleveland area, 45 children have disappeared this month alone. Chicago police continue investigating a violent robbery in the city's Bucktown neighborhood caught on video. The incident happened Monday in the 2000 block of Damon. Last night, Bucktown and nearby community residents sounded off at a public safety forum. Police Captain Dave Coding says the numbers are against police.
There are challenges. These guys dump the vehicles frequently. They'll steal a car, use it to do robberies, get another one the next day. So it's like whack-a-mole. We're constantly, it's cat and mouse.
Republican-led House Judiciary Committee members blamed Democrats for violent crime in Chicago during a hearing yesterday. Committee co-chair and Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan said the left has implemented pro-criminal policies. Others blasted the state of Illinois for abolishing cash bail last week. Carlos Llanes, a retired disabled Chicago police officer who was shot 5 times, said criminals know there are lax policies.
It is time to stop coddling criminals and holding them accountable for their actions. Only then will they stop and think before they carjack, rob, shoot, or kill a law-abiding citizen.
Chicago crime statistics show overall crime up 77%, robberies up 45% in the last 2 years. Chicago sports, Cubs losing ground in their playoff chase. A brutal error by Seiya Suzuki in the bottom of the 8th handed the Braves a 7-6 win over the Cubs. White Sox surrender 6 in the top of the 5th inning in a 15-4 loss to the Diamondbacks. The news, a service of Advanced Design Studio. Thinking of a home renovation but aren't sure where to begin? Check out Common Sense Remodeling with Advanced Design Studio online at advanceddesignstudio.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Freedom Summit Chicago tickets are now on sale. Join AM 560, The Answer, on November 11th at the Westin Chicago Northwest for Freedom Summit, featuring Rand Paul, Judge Janine Pirro from Fox News, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, Sean Thompson, and many more. Tickets are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by St. John's Lutheran School in Lombard, Tom Miraboli, independent insurance agent with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, and by overheaddoorchicago.com.
When you're in the market to buy or sell a home, commercial property, or even vacant land, let attorney Susan J. Kim step in. She's reliable, responsive, personable, and extremely thorough when helping you deal with an otherwise stressful transaction. Attorney Kim leads with her values and is committed to providing legal services with excellence. To contact Attorney Kim, visit sjkimlaw.com. That's sjkimlaw.com. Whether it's drafting agreements, negotiating contract terms, or closing on a property, Attorney Susan J. Kim can do it all. Over 10 years of experience and her wealth of knowledge tackling complicated legal negotiations and breaking them down into a smooth, easy-to-understand process is what she does best. So let Attorney Susan J. Kim step in. To schedule your legal consultation today, visit sjkimlaw.com. That's sjkimlaw.com or call 847-906-3166. Susan J. Kim Attorney at Law is a state of Illinois licensed real estate attorney.
Hey, I'm Raquel.
And I'm Babette.
Here to invite you to listen to our show, Belly of the Beast,
where we tackle all the hot topics and issues that you are talking about today.
So join us each week for our
hard-hitting,
fun,
informative,
topical,
out there
radio show where we leave nothing on the table.
Belly of the Beast, heard every Saturday evening at 7, right here on AM 560, The Answer. And follow us on Facebook at Belly of the Beast IL.
Lots of channels, nothing to watch, especially if you're looking outside of big corporate control. It's time to interrupt your regularly scheduled programs with something worth watching. The new Salem News Channel. Straightforward, unfiltered, in-depth insight and analysis from the greatest collection of conservative minds, all in one place. SNC is home to Dennis Prager, Mike Gallagher, Sebastian Gorka, and more. Watch anytime on any screen, free 24/7. Find what you're looking for at snc.tv.
Dan Proft here for Willows Academy. Willows is an authentically Catholic, all-girls school that supports traditional values. For nearly 50 years, Willows has partnered with families in the Chicagoland area to educate young women who will change the world. How do they do it? The school develops virtue, intellectual clarity, and confidence in students to live by the values that have made America great. With all the pressure on girls from society and social media to conform, Willows offers your daughter a supportive environment that helps her understand and live the balance between authentic freedom and personal responsibility. Check out Willows Academy at the open house on Sunday, October 15th. I got to tell you, the quality of the education and the values of the school will give you serious peace of mind. Come and check out Willows Academy at the open house on Sunday, October 15th at 1 p.m. Register online at willowsacademy.org. That's willowsacademy.org. Open to girls 6th to 12th grade. That's willowsacademy.org.
Exergen thermometers are a top choice of medical professionals at highly ranked hospitals across the U.S. Accuracy matters, so make Exergen the chosen thermometer for your home and family.
5:39, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Let's start on I-57. Remains shut down on the inbound side between 111th and Halstead. There was a fatal single-vehicle rollover accident with ejection there that is being investigated by authorities. We can tell you the inbound Dan Ryan is now reopened, but still slick. 10 cars crashed right at the same location inbound near Canalport early this morning. Again, things have improved. They've sanded the roadway, but it's still slow right near Canalport. And you have delays inbound between the Stevenson and Roosevelt and 15 minutes in from 95th. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Mainly cloudy today, a couple of showers, maybe a thunderstorm, high 67. 64 degrees at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour Radio Show, Saturday afternoons at 3. Brought to you by Pure Shale Financial Group at PureShaleFinancial.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Talking about the preternatural dishonesty of all of Chicago's institutions, including the comm department over at CPD. Trinity Washington case, the latest example of this, and it's just so unnerving.
It's lazy reporting, too. I mean, this is not a story. I mean, it's a story. It happened. She should not have been attacked. And again, she is a good student, whatever, good community person, whatever. They made it sound like white people went up to an 11-year-old girl and cold-cocked her in the face. And that did not happen.
So this is the backdrop of the House
party.
Judiciary Committee hearing yesterday at FOP HQ, where you had Officer Carlos Yanez, Ella French's partner, severely wounded in the night that she was murdered. Our friend John Garrido, retired Chicago Police Lieutenant, that joined us yesterday to preview his testimony. Also, Gianno Caldwell, who's from the suburbs here, well, city and then the suburbs here, before he left for fame and fortune inside the Beltway. Gianno Caldwell, we had on the show about a year and a half ago when his brother was murdered on the streets of Chicago.
Oh, that's right. He's a Fox reporter.
This is what Gianno said at the forum as part of his testimony.
Living in Chicago should not come with a death sentence, but it does for too many Chicagoans. The elected officials here have systematically endangered the lives of all Chicagoans, but especially those of color, the marginalized who they claim to care about the most.
Somebody's finally leveling with people, or at least challenging them, whether they're not they're being they feel whether or not they feel they're being leveled with. At least they're being challenged. This is the point. Challenge the thinking. Don't just repeat the talking points, the acceptable cliches. Stop it. And that's essentially what Gianno is challenging people to do with the statement that he made there, and I appreciate it. Here's what Officer Yanez had to say.
It is time to stop coddling criminals and holding them accountable for their actions. Only then will they stop and think before they carjack, rob, shoot, or kill a law-abiding citizen.
Pretty straightforward. Importantly, Yanez, I give him credit for coming forward. Too many police are afraid to speak out, even after they've been insulated from political retribution because Carlos Yanez was a hero in the line of duty. So Carlos Yanez is taking the position. I'm gonna say what I got to say. You want to come at me? Come at me. Thank you. Finally, it's so rare here. And I'll tell you what else Yanez did after the hearing. He addressed the Safety Act, Pritzker Purge Law.
I just would like to see some accountability. I feel that a lot of leaders and elected officials right now that came up with this Safety Act, with this cash bail, should be held accountable for when these offenders are released and then attack the victims and the witnesses that are basically going to be their witness, for court. It's terrible what's going to happen, and I already see it happening, and they should be held accountable.
You don't think it's happening here? I got this from a police source yesterday, which I'm going to confirm because the sheriff's office is in charge of the Cook County Jail. But since the Safety Act, Amy, the Cook County Jail has been emptying out of Dorm 3. Over 500 offenders were released. Dorm 3 is now closed. The other sections will be closing as well, possibly, if this continues.
Well, that's the point. That's the point of the law.
Right. 50 correction officers have been shifted now to the courts because they're not needed in the jails anymore.
People understand this, right? Just as Charles Thomas makes this point all the time, Toni Preckwinkle, when she first ran for Cook County Board President, her platform, central to her candidacy, was reduce the population in Cook County Jail.
Yep, and she got what she wanted.
Well, she did it before the Safety Act with help from Kim Foxx. But the point of the Purge Law, the so-called Safety Act 2.0, the law that didn't need to be amended, and you were racist if you said so, and then they amended it, that law, the point of it is to reduce the prison population. And if you don't listen to me, I don't know, we just talk to prosecutors like anybody else can if they're so interested. And we talk to sheriffs, who have responsibility for the county jails. And they will tell you the jail population is not full of moms stealing diapers for their babies. It's full of mainly
men,
violent offenders, alleged violent offenders, and in some cases, not alleged, repeat violent offenders who are alleged to have committed another violent crime. That's who is mainly in the prison system. And that's the case in Cook County. And it doesn't matter that they don't care. Their point is, not your point. Their point is not public safety. Their point is reduce the prison population at any cost. And still people don't believe that's true when it's actually happening.
It's happening.
Okay.
Jim Jordan led the forum yesterday.
And you stop and think about it. First it was defund the police, the former mayor. Then it's this Safety Act, and then it's a prosecutor who won't prosecute the bad guys. All that leads to the situation we see today.
Yeah, and Yanez, again, going back to Officer Yanez, star of the show, he at least was somebody who's willing to name names. He named a name. Her name is Kim Foxx.
COPA continues to serve suspension days to officers like candy on Halloween. Cook County has its own issues under Kim Foxx's administration. I've never heard of so many state's attorneys resigning or transferring to other counties, refusing to no longer work under her.
312-642-5600 is our turnkey.pro answer line. 64636, type in DA, then a quick comment. Of course, Danny Davis and other critics said this was a publicity stunt. Are you ready? They should be in Washington, D.C. dealing with the potential government shutdown. And Jordan responded.
We've had it scheduled for months. Everyone knew it was going to happen. We've been planning on coming here. As I said before, it's not the first. This is not political. This is about helping families who've been impacted in a real way.
Well, it is political. But so what? Everything is political. You think the decisions that Danny Davis and Kim Foxx make are not political? Again, can we just level? Can we just speak plainly and challenge people to get off of their ridiculous bromides, these refrigerator magnets they say to themselves and then they say out loud after practicing? It's political. Oh, my God, the specter of politics in Chicago. Heavens. The pearl clutching over the prospect of politics. What, politics and a discussion about public safety? Oh, Kim Foxx is too busy doing what to play politics? But she sits down and says it's a political with, these dingbats like Tamon Bradley and WGN. Oh, it's a political stunt. What do we need to do? We need common sense gun laws. We've needed them for 30 years. Okay, which ones? Oh. She doesn't know. He doesn't ask. And then everybody else of that persuasion just, we need common sense gun laws. We need common sense gun laws. We got to get the guns off the streets. We got to invest in kids. I mean, not scholarships, not the Invest in Kids scholarship. I mean, we have to fund these institutions that don't produce anything. We have to pour more money. The 40% increase in CPS spending per pupil over the last 4 years is not enough. More. Marshall Plan for the West and South Side. We need to do that. We need to wraparound services. We need to think holistically. We need to get to root causes. I mean, aren't you sick of it? I mean, when do we get to our Howard Beale moment, literally with people screaming out of the windows? That's what I want. Just stop talking to me like an infant. I don't understand how people tolerate this. And also emulate it. That also means people who know better speaking with the same forked tongues, pulling their punches. You can do exactly what Carlos Yanez did yesterday. Very room temperature level. Just lay it out.
Yep.
Greg Rogers Park.
Hi, good morning. Listen, you just echoed what I wanted to say about the all the money being diverted to other things. My question to you, Dan and Amy, more to you, Dan, because you seem to know. Is there anybody that could run for state's attorney that could possibly turn things around? Do you know anyone in the wings that could do it, Dan?
Well, I mean, thanks for the call. Yeah, I mean, Cook County has like 5 million people. No, there's no competent prosecutor in Cook County. Of course there are. Of course there are. So who wants to step forward? I mean, are there competent, like professional, talented professional people in this state? Sure.
Yes.
Are they in political office? No. Why do you think that is? That's think about that a little bit. Why is that? Why don't talented people, particularly who are not criminally insane, go into running for public office? Not as a career, whatever, but because they were a prosecutor, maybe they're in private practice now, and they come back and do this because they want to be part of changing the course of the city and salvaging what's left of the city. And that's where we're at this point. I mean, it's a salvage operation as far as I'm concerned, at least short term. Why don't they do that? I mean, does anybody dispute that there are talented people in the state in all walks of life, in all professions, in all sectors? Why don't you see them reflected on the city council, the state legislature, the state constitutional officers, the power structure of Cook County, most of the suburbs for that matter? Why do you think that is? Any ideas? John, Bridgeport.
All right, just throwing another stat at you guys for my war room here. Bridgeport, Garfield Ridge, Mount Greenwood, Beverly, and Scottsdale. More auto burglaries and more robberies took place this past weekend than since the 2020 riots, which doesn't hold much for our politicians to do anything on. But you wish the media would announce it, but they don't do anything. But it's a scary thought because that's what's left of the middle class on the South Side.
Thanks for the call, John. Same policymakers, different names, same policy, same results. There's hue and cry in Philadelphia over Apple and Lululemon stores being looted yesterday. There's a community lament over the murder of a young tech CEO in Baltimore who is beaten to death inside her luxury apartment. Yeah. And they've got a
25 years.
They got a suspect that they're looking for is a 32-year-old multiple-time loser who the mayor of Baltimore, Baltimore, Brandon Scott, they got their own Brandon, who's a defund the policer.
Mm-hmm. That guy was out on parole. He should have never been out on parole.
Suspect was previously arrested in 2009, 2011, 2013 for crimes including sex offense, second-degree assault, and robbery. Brandon Scott, defund the police. There is no way in hell he should have been out. That's a quote. We are talking about the same people committing the same kind of crimes over and over again. That's a quote. What is he doing about it? Nothing. He's giving quotes. So why doesn't Baltimore have somebody better? Why doesn't Chicago have somebody better? Why didn't Chicago have some buddies better to choose from this last go around? And the go around before that. And the go around before that.
Well, how many people have to be killed by repeat offenders before they do frickin' something about it?
Mary, Midway.
Oh, Dan, don't say they're not doing anything. In my neighborhood, they have blue plastic ribbons as far as the eye can see around every tree and every lamppost. That's how they're honoring the police, because this was for the guy, God bless him, I can't think of his name, about a year ago, the policeman who basically gave his life. He had a Latino last name. He was 35, thank God, no kids, because he's chasing the bad guy. says stop. Bad guy turns around, shoots, and kills him for obvious reasons, as we've come to call him, because, oh, no, he couldn't shoot the bad guy. And the bad guy who should have been in jail. But no, we have plastic ribbons all over my neighborhood that are tattered and worn for a year. They didn't think nothing about ever taking them down to honor that policeman, Dan. So, and by the way, don't they have committees now they're opening up to go green? I thought plastic was a big enemy of the ecology, and my mayor and so on put them all over, and they've been up there for a year, all tattered and withered. You got to see it.
Thanks for the call, Mary. Yeah.
Virtue signaling.
I remember last year during the governor's race after Danny Golden was shot, and and now is confined to a wheelchair, that the Beverly, Mount Greenwood, that area is going to be up in arms, going to make a statement. They weren't just going to walk away like they were planning on doing once they, retire from their city jobs mainly. Whatever happened to that? Joe in Hoffman Estates.
Hey, good morning. Liberals do not want a guy like Jim Jordan to show up because, to quote Dennis Prager, they can dismantle their argument in under 90 minutes, make them look foolish.
All right, Joe. Tom Oswego.
Good morning, Danny and Amy. I pin a lot of the blame on the citizenry, the voting public. I still remember the day when Barack Obama was at a rally, or I think a campaign event, said that he wanted to fundamentally transform America, and the crowd cheered and went wild. This is a citizenry problem. We used to be one nation under God, they used to say. So we all had, not all of us, but most of us had similar goals. We supported the country. Now we're in little tribes. We're in this group and that group and this group, and they're warring against each other. And this has been done intentionally. And I hate to say that. I talk with neighbors, good friends of mine, some of them liberal. You cannot even talk to them anymore. They've almost been brainwashed. And I don't understand what's happening.
Yeah, you should.
It's hard to convince them they've been fooled.
You should talk to them.
You can't. We do.
Well, no, but I mean, I don't mean politely. I don't mean politely.
You know what? It's ruined friendships.
Yeah, fine.
It's broken up families.
I know.
Neighbors won't talk to them. It's a sad thing.
Yeah, it is. It is sad. Thanks for calling. We're no longer friends. I'm fine with that. By the way, the officer that was, I'm not talking about Tom, I'm talking about that conversation. Oh, we can't be friends anymore? No problem. A lot of fish in the sea.
A lot of neighborhoods in Chicago. Or just move to the suburbs.
The officer that was killed that Marion Midway was referring to, Andres Vasquez Lasso. Yeah, we should remember the names. We know the names. Ella French, we know the names because there was a point to their lives.
Lieutenant Bauer.
There was a point to their lives, and that distinguishes them from so many other residents of the city, doesn't it?
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. Americans watched as 8,000 illegal immigrants per day crossed our border last week. What they didn't see is the migrants the Biden administration is sneaking into the U.S. Under this stealth program, illegal immigrants can fly directly from their hometowns into a U.S. city of their choice. They use the Biden administration's smartphone app to choose a destination. They meet with U.S. officials at land ports of entry, like international airports, where they're waved in by U.S. Customs. They then fly to any city they please. According to the Center for Immigration Studies, more than 210,000 migrants have entered America this way since January. We've effectively added Des Moines, Iowa, or Rochester, New York to our country in less than a year. No country that cares about its own citizens or the rule of law does business this way. It needs to stop. I'm Carol Platt-Liebau.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Did former President Trump call for the execution of General Mark Milley? 606.
And Dan, I hope it ends peacefully. Evanstonians took to the streets yesterday. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Slick conditions leading to deadly accidents this morning. A baby girl found abandoned in the Westtown neighborhood. WIND Chicago News Time, 6.
North Korea doesn't want him anymore. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The American soldier who fled there in July to avoid being sent back to the U.S. to face discipline after being jailed in South Korea on assault charges.
For weeks, we've heard little about Travis King's fate, but now Pyongyang's announced the U.S. Army private is to be expelled. The North Korean state news agency says King confessed to illegally crossing the border and harboured ill feelings over inhumane treatment and racial discrimination within the U.S. Army.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. A disaster in Iraq at a Christian wedding. People were celebrating, lighting fireworks that apparently set a hall packed with guests on fire. About 100 of them were killed. In Philadelphia, a group of teens went on a looting spree, stealing from multiple stores, including Apple and Lululemon.
At this point in time, we know somewhere around 15 to 20 arrests have taken place thus far.
Interim Philadelphia Police Commissioner John Stanford says it's not related to the protests earlier in the day after a judge dropped the charges against a now ex-police officer in a deadly traffic stop shooting last month. Crime could be a big topic tonight when 7 Republicans running for president debate at the Reagan Library.
For a second time, the frontrunner in this Republican primary, former President Trump, is also a no-show. He says his large lead makes it unnecessary to debate.
He should be there making the case, defending what he did while he was president. And if he has plans, which I haven't heard any, but if he has plans for the future, to advocate for those as well.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie calls the former president's absence disrespectful to GOP voters.
Fox's Jared Halpert in California. A judge in New York's found the former president liable for fraud, canceling Trump Organization business certification as part of the Democratic Attorney General's civil lawsuit. A Trump statement calls it a witch hunt, slandering a great company. Republican Congressman Jeff Van Drew tells Fox.
Donald Trump is not being prosecuted. He's being persecuted.
The former president faces 4 criminal trials. America's listening to Fox News.
64 degrees at 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Problems on the roads this morning. I-57 does remain shut down between 111th and Halstead, closed due to an accident with ejections, a fatal accident that continues to be investigated. Earlier, the Dan Ryan was shut down for several hours as things were very slow near Canalport. Slick conditions caused by a fuel spill and then a chain reaction accident. About 10 cars were involved. Most of those cars have been removed. The Dan Ryan is back open, but still very slow. Chicago police are investigating a violent robbery in the city's Bucktown neighborhood caught on video. It happened Monday in the 2000 block of North Damon. Last night, Bucktown and nearby community residents sounded off at a public safety forum. Robbers took off with the man's belonging and remain on the loose. And that's a major problem. At that forum, Commander Rodney Hill says right now they have no way to catch up with all the robbers.
Well, year to date, over 300 robberies have been committed, and the clearance rate is 10%.
Several community activists this week called on Mayor Brandon Johnson and Cook County State's Attorney Kim Foxx to do a better job simply enforcing the law. Cook County prosecutors are dropping charges against a Chicago man who spent more than 3 decades behind bars for the shooting deaths of 2 14-year-old boys in 1989.
This system needs to be fixed. It's very, very broken. There's more guys like me going through this. I'm just happy that mine is done. Now we have to focus on other people.
Francisco Benitez, a judge vacating his conviction last month, he was released on electronic monitoring. Chicago Police Department tells us an 18-month-old toddler was left unattended in the 1800 block of West Ohio around 4 yesterday afternoon. Girl was found abandoned near a school in the Westtown neighborhood. Police transported that child to Lurie Children's Hospital this morning. She's listed in good condition. Cubs losing ground in the playoff chase after a 7-6 loss to the Braves in Atlanta after taking a 6-0 lead into the 6th inning. White Sox pounded by the Diamondbacks 15-4. Packers and Lions tonight on Thursday Night Football. The news, a service of Dan and Amy 24/7, around the clock, all day, every day. Listen now at danandamy247.com. And a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Brandon Tatum wants honesty from politicians.
Whether I trust him 100% or not, or whether I think he's genuine about certain things is irrelevant to me. I just think he was a great president. The man was putting in policies, everybody was winning. So by and large, I think Trump did a lot of great things. And that's why I voted for him, and I voted for him twice. I just wish these people would just be honest, man, and not like be beating around the bush because they feel like they caught up in something.
The Officer Tatum Show. Weeknights at 7, right before Jay Sekulow at 9 on AM 560. The Answer.
Would you go to court without a lawyer when the other guy is lawyered up? Or are you going to go it alone and learn law and procedure as you go? When you have an insurance claim for your home or business, it's the same thing.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company.
Insurance companies will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them. Not you.
If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%, and we could do the same for you. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom. Building trust for over 20 years.
What's the best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda? No, it's not voting Republican. A better option is to vote with your wallet. Democrats get easy votes by giving away newly printed money, but we can fight this never-ending scam by making use of physical gold. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a physical gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. These special accounts allow you to preserve your retirement and help the country at the same time. Plus, you pay zero penalties or taxes on the transfer. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold IRA company I trust, so text PROTECT to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Hi, folks. Dennis Prager here. You've probably been hearing my colleagues and me talking about investing with YRefi for a while now. You may have some questions, so let's review. It's true. You can earn up to a 10.25% fixed rate of return that is not correlated to the stock market or the Fed. You can turn your income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose, and there are absolutely no fees. There is no attack on principal if you ever need your money back, and you'll get your monthly statement with no surprises. Just go to investyrefy.com. That's invest, the letter Y, then refi, REFY.com. Or call 888-YREFI24. Folks, this is a solid investment that actually helps people. Just go to investyrefy.com or call 888-YREFI24 and tell them Dennis Prager sent you.
6:08, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Eden's 19, Lake Cook Road to the junction, the Kennedy 40, O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Eisenhower staying pretty normal, 37. 390 into the old post office. Traveling on the Stevenson right now, inbound 42 in from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, accident right at Cermak, close to the exit ramp. It's on the inbound side. I-57 remains shut down. Northbound between 111th and Halstead. That's an earlier fatal accident investigation. And a major 5-car accident on the Bishop Ford inbound between 159th and Dalton. Accident DuSable Lakeshore Drive, southbound right at Michigan Avenue. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Today, cloudy skies, shower and thunderstorm, a high 67. Some showers this evening, then turning out mostly cloudy, low 63. A shower tomorrow morning, then clouds and sun. A high tomorrow at 71. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
Temperatures dropping 63 at O'Hare, 63 lakefront. Heavy rain moving through the area. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Scott Tucker Solutions and his show Retirement Decoded. Sunday mornings at 8. Learn more at scotttuckersolutions.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. We'll talk about this a little bit next hour with Scott, the cow guy. But just a comment on my exchange with Tom from Oswego. He's a nice guy, and he wants to get along with his neighbors and his family, and things I don't care anything about. Family, neighbors, friends.
Maybe because you're not in that situation that we're in, but it's hard. I mean, I've lost friends, and I'm not getting them back anytime soon.
Well, right, as I want to say, they weren't your friends. You just didn't realize it. So my point is this. The response to someone who won't listen, who you have any interest in having some sort of relationship with, is, what the hell's wrong with you? What in the world is wrong with you? You don't see what's happening? I don't want to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. You know why? Because your ignorance is negatively impacting my life. And just on the economic front, wait till you hear the new numbers out about home values and that hot Illinois real estate market. You think, ooh, cool that baby off.
Wow.
Wait, that's what we're going to talk about, Scott, the cow guy. You're negatively impacting my life and my kids' lives. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about it. And if you don't want to talk about it, then we're really going to talk about it, or you're just going to get harangued. And every time I see you, you're going to get harangued. And every time anybody, my friend, sees you, you're going to get harangued, because shame is a powerful tool. And, I'm not saying that you have to go full eco-supremacist and super glue yourself to your neighbor's driveway or something like this. Take the wheels off the kids' bikes, or I'm not, but I mean,
deflate the air out of their tires.
I do mean that you have to go at people rhetorically, and you have to tell them what time it is. Why can we all agree that we should, that the CPD and politicians? I hate when they talk to me like I'm a kindergarten student. Why can we all agree that, oh, yeah, it's bad? They should speak plainly and the truth and directly. Why don't you do the same in your circles of influence? I'm afraid I'll lose this. What are you afraid of? I mean, the whole kid-parent thing, I get. That's separate and distinct. But I'm talking about adults in your neighborhood, in your social circles.
Well, I had a neighbor across the street that was just almost shaking. I don't want to say his name, but he's been there a long decades.
Oh my God,
shaking.
His name. No, his name. That's a he.
Yeah, it's a him. Was shaking. He's like,
shaking.
I don't understand. I don't understand why you like Trump. You got to explain it to me. And I said, can you take a deep breath? We'll meet. We'll talk. And now I want to talk now. And that was 4 years. Now I want to go to him and say, how's this working out for you?
I mean, honestly.
How's this working out with Brandon Johnson?
Can't we have more Doc Hollidays in this world?
Does this mean we're not friends anymore? You know, Ed, if I thought you weren't my friend, I just don't think I could bear it.
And that's when he pulled out the revolvers. That's how conversation should go, whether at a poker game or a block party.
Wow.
If I don't think we could be friends, I just don't. I don't think I could bear it. Bing. Kidding, of course. I am not kidding about rhetorically challenging adults in your circles of influence.
Well, you challenge them, and then you're not in charge of the block party anymore.
Yeah.
you
Oh,
know?
what a
Oh, my
sacrifice.
God. Well, you're not a community organizer, and you can't put it on your resume then, like Barack Obama did. He was a community organizer.
Chris on I-65.
Literally had this conversation with my brother last night, who is from the West Coast and going overseas. So we stopped here and we met at my other brother's house, and we were having the same conversation. We were talking about all the things that he hates Trump for and he hates Republicans for. And we started going through the list of things that he actually supports, which are all Republican values, but he just hates Trump so much. And we had the conversation that you just had. You're negatively affecting us when you're voting for anybody but Trump just because you hate him.
Yeah.
The exact same conversation.
And how did that go?
He's receptive. I mean, we're brothers and we're polite to each other, and he gets it. It's just there is that derangement
Oh,
that
it's such derangement.
I don't know that can be broken, Dan. I really don't.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's on the margins, and on the margins matter when you have a country as divided as this. That's sort of the point, is to say, yeah, I mean, I get it. I get why you don't like Trump. I'm not a fan of his communication style, never have been, never will be. I'm not a fan of some of the fights he picks and the way he chooses to fight.
I'm not a fan of the people who he surrounds himself with, or
Yeah.
at least has in the past.
There's all kinds of things. I get it. I'm not a fan of the grammar he uses on social media. I don't know why he doesn't have a copy
Kafafi.
editor. I mean, I just don't. I don't
Remember
understand how
Kafafi?
one of those powerful men of the world can't find a copy editor. I mean, I don't know.
Or run his tweets by somebody before he hits send.
I don't know about that, but I mean,
Oh.
just grammatically correct. I don't think that's a bridge too far.
It's not a big ask, no, Dan.
So I get the point, but I mean, so I get all that personality wise, but I mean,
Life was better for most Americans when he was president.
and also too, it's just this whole thing that everything boils down. Everything is a referendum on him, and he's the only person that matters. He's not. What are you doing when you vote for members of Congress, for governors, for state legislators, for your school board members, for city council? Those people matter too. Trump win or lose is not a one-man wrecking crew, particularly if he wins, since that's supposed to be the big fear. So Congress is going to be suspended. The Supreme Court is going to be disbanded. I mean, what are you talking about? What are people talking about? This is just lunacy. There is no basis in reality, and it just needs to be said. Be specific. I get you don't like him personally, and the wives and the name calling and the whatever, the orange, whatever it is. Fine. Tell me what is going to happen. That's credible. That represents actual thought. That has any basis in possibility. It seems to me when people are challenged with that, they'll either throw up their hands and they'll retreat, or they'll concede the point. But either way, that's progress. Tony in Riverside.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. I use the commentary. Do not vote personality or party. Vote policy. And, that's what I post all the time. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things about Trump I don't like, but there's, the policies he is behind that I do. And that's what's important.
Thanks for the call, Tony. Well, again, since this isn't like a laboratory experiment anymore, he was going to end our democracy when he was president. So what happened in 4 years? Did it end?
No. And the second he took office, he was under attack by the Democrats because they couldn't stand that an outsider came in and is in the Oval Office.
When Republicans had control of both the legislative and the executive, did they suspend the Supreme Court? Did they disband Congress? Did they tear up the Bill of Rights? What exactly happened that's supposed to happen? You can disagree with this policy or that policy on the border, or tax cuts, or tariffs, or lots of things. But what this end of the republic type of stuff? Well, what happened when they had control? They spent a lot of time arguing with each other. It's just so without foundation. So you have to provide some, or challenge people to provide some foundation. Sean and Darian.
Hi, good morning, guys. Yeah, I mean, everybody keeps talking about how bad of a guy he is or whatever, or his rhetoric. I have no problem with it. At least you know who he is. All these other politicians are pretending to be something else, or they're denying what they really are, which is evil and, just disgusting. So his policies were the best. I think he was probably one of the greatest presidents this country has ever seen. He got more done with everybody coming after him and trying to bring him down. So I think he's the only answer. Thank you.
Thanks for the call.
Got a text message. Dan and Amy, what if Trump is elected? What's going to happen to Democratic cities? Are there going to be riots?
I don't know. That's that's up to the people. You want to have Summer of Love Redux because you lost an election? I wouldn't recommend it.
Left to loot?
I wouldn't recommend it, but I mean, even the prospect of that. So then, what does that say about the people you're affiliated with? If you're worried about rioting and looting, if Trump were to win again, what does that say about the people you're aligned with politically? For the sort of never Trumper, I'll vote for whatever Marxist the other side puts up because I don't like his haircut. What does that say about you? I'm afraid we have to negotiate with terrorists, domestic terrorists.
And speaking of, crime and petty theft, Target moved out 9 stores. Not moved out. They shut down 9 stores. San Francisco, New York, Portland, Seattle.
Glenn and Oak Brook.
They're losing money.
Yeah, I brought this up on the afternoon show with John Anthony on Monday, but I had arguments with people trying to think about reason. What's reasonable? And if there are people that don't want to listen to reason at all, it's equivalent to trying to give medicine to a dead person.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, fine. So, but you challenge and you move. You don't just sit there challenging one person to no avail for the rest of your days. I'm talking about the disposition, generally speaking, is to challenge. George in Naperville.
Yeah, I'm afraid about all the rich and famous people that will move out of our country if Trump is elected.
Yeah, will Alec Baldwin finally move? Thanks for the call, George.
Oh, are they going to start that again?
Kevin, Austin,
Was
Texas.
Charlene's there on?
You kind of jumped ahead of me. The idea is, you move on to the next person. You find like-minded people. And by the way, you got to give some credit to Barack Obama. He was a good community organizer, and Illinois could use a great conservative community organizer. And I think
he was a good community organizer in what sense? How many steel workers, out of work steel workers, found jobs because of Barack Obama? How was he a community organizer?
What I'm saying is he was effective.
No, he wasn't.
He got Democrats elected. He got elected.
He got elected because he was because he was the front man for the radical left. He was a cipher.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything. He was just the face guy.
Okay, he's a face guy, but my point is that we need people who were behind. So let's say the people that were behind Obama that got him elected. The conservative movement in Illinois could use that. That's why you're not going to find a talented state's attorney, somebody who's going to run for state's attorney, political infrastructure.
Well,
if you can build that, and it's the people who are listening to this through the precinct strategy or things like that to get involved, they can do it. And by the way, I love the call from Riverside.
All right, thanks for the call, Kevin. Sarah, Glenview.
Yeah, hi. It just occurred to me yesterday when the left criticizes the right. They say, oh, what they're going to do, they're going to burn down our cities, you'll all be in chains, you know the whole spiel. But when the right criticizes the left, they're just guilty of the crime of noticing crimes that they've already perpetrated.
Yes, right. Yes, exactly. Thanks for the call. Yeah, right. Here's what they're going to do. You mean the stuff you've already done? Mike and Dixon.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of folks, they see politicians sweet-talking, prim and proper, and they see a snake.
Yeah.
They see Trump, and they know exactly where he stands, and he's not a snake.
Thanks for the call, Mike. I mean, I get it. I get the attributes that Trump has. I'm just saying, if you're talking to somebody who's, completely shut down by Trump, then yeah, I mean, you concede. Yeah, there's things I don't like about him too. There's things a lot of people don't like about him who are still supportive of him for all the other reasons that people gave. I get it. Just trying to say, like, it's not like he's not a messiah. He's not my God.
No.
He's just a politician. And if the choice comes down to Trump or Biden or some other new Marxist, then he's the best choice.
Yep.
That's the conversation we're having. We're not having a conversation about salvation. We're having a conversation about what's in the best interest of the country and who in the leadership position is is best able to serve the best interest of the country. It's actually a rather pedestrian conversation, but the left has to bastardize this into something that's of galactic impact. The only thing that's of galactic impact is stopping the left from the rampage they're on through this culture and this country.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Sometimes Balance of Nature gets feedback that Dr. Howard should be played by a better actor. Well, maybe they're right, because I am not an actor, and I don't want to be. I hope that you understand this is real. People are sharing their success stories because their quality of life has improved.
The acute rehab was quite a journey. I thought maybe this is the best it's going to be until I took Balance of Nature.
I had low energy, I wasn't sleeping good at night, and then my wife suggested we try Balance of Nature. My energy came back, it's changed my life.
A surf session can be pretty physically demanding, and Balance of Nature helps me do that.
Quality is what life is about, and that's what we strive for at Balance of Nature. We are a results-based company looking to improve your quality of life.
Go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Hey, business owners, are you wondering how to grow your business? Do you need cash flow and a ready source for financing? Well, Signature Bank can help. Hi, Mike Gallagher here to let you know that Signature Bank's loan decisions are made locally by a team who knows your name, cares about your business, and is invested in your success. When you need advice about your business or even have a question, Signature Bank is there to help. There are no handoffs or call centers. This is a team that wants to get to know you and your business. That's why Signature Bank in Chicago is my bank. That's right. I'm a customer. When I call, someone picks up the phone on the other end. And with Signature Bank, I can securely bank anywhere, anytime. Reach out to my friends at Signature Bank. Call 773-467-5630. That's 773-467-5630, or visit them online at signaturebank.bank. Signaturebank.bank. Your business could be Signature Bank's next success story. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
The weather's cooling down, but the savings are heating up at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. Dan Proft here. If you're looking for a new or pre-owned Mazda, you need to visit Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. You'll find the Mazda you want, and the price you see is the price you get. There are no games or gimmicks. Right now is a great time to buy a new Mazda with limited time incentives that only come around once a year. You can lease a 2023 Mazda CX-30 for $289 per month, or a 2023 Mazda CX-5 for $315 a month, or for $539 a month, you can lease the all-new 2024 Mazda CX-90. All lease terms are 33 months with $39.95 down, plus tax, title, license, and the $324.24 dock fee with approved credit through Mazda Capital Services for qualified buyers. And to keep your Mazda running great all year round, schedule your next service appointment online at WilkinsMazdaCars.com. Wilkins Mazda is conveniently located in Elmhurst off York Road and 290, just minutes from Oak Brook downtown and Schaumburg. Experience the next level of excellence at Wilkins Mazda in Elmhurst. Visit WilkinsMazdaCars.com. See dealer for details.
Hi, this is Steve. I'm in Italy, away from my business. But I'm not worried about the office or my absence from it. I'm confident because I've got Turnkey on my side. They've helped me solve several problems for my business, so I can finally relax for a bit while I let the business work. Not only did Turnkey help with my IT problems, their expert team gave me a custom consultation that found additional profit centers in my company. They've helped me focus on a new direction for my business. It's not easy to relax when you own a business, but with our partnership with Turnkey, I feel confident, resolved, and ready to deliver. Now, I'm going to relax, have a Peroni, and depend on the direction Turnkey has helped me embrace. They can help your business too. Visit turnkey.pro to start a conversation today. That's turnkey.pro.
The pros at Turnkey share your values. They know IT and they know small business. They're Chicagoland's small business champions. Visit turnkey.pro to book your appointment today. That's turnkey.pro.
All right, 47 million people have no or unscorable credit and would benefit from a Team Hochberg Fresh Start secured credit card with no annual fee. A Team Hochberg Fresh Start secured credit is perfect if your vindictive ex destroyed your credit, you recently filed for or were discharged from bankruptcy, experienced a foreclosure or short sale, have collections, or if you were turned down for a credit because one of your kids also is having trouble securing their first credit cards. Team Hochberg partnered with Kane County Teachers Credit Union to offer the Team Hochberg Fresh Start secured credit card with no annual fee to help reestablish, enhance, and strengthen listeners with no damaged or challenged credit. For information about obtaining a Team Hochberg Fresh Start secured credit card with no annual fee, go to, are you ready? 56david.com, 56david.com/fresh start. That's 56david.com/fresh start. Lower.com, equal housing lender, NMLS 1124061.
Is your prostate secretly being destroyed without you knowing it? All the ads for these prostate pills like Super Beta Prostate, Saw Palmetto, ProstaStream, Prostagenics, and others. Want to know which pills work and which are garbage? Now you can. Get a free copy of the new guide, Prostate Secrets, that pulls back the curtain on the prostate pill industry. Learn what is really in these pills. Which pill has over 987 adverse event reports filed against it with the FDA. It's shocking. Learn the one food to avoid that is a prostate killer, and discover the 3 so-called health foods that destroy your prostate. Get your free copy at prostatesecrets.com. That's prostatesecrets.com. This free guide will show you how to end your prostate problems without drugs or surgery, 5 important things to do to protect your prostate, and much more. Warning, this guide is controversial and may be offensive to some readers as it pulls no punches. So go to prostatesecrets.com, prostatesecrets.com. That's prostatesecrets.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Perfect segue from our conversation about the cut off their nose to spite their face crowd when it comes to Trump, otherwise sensible people who don't behave sensibly. The Trump Millie, Trump Clapper, Trump enemies list, end of our democracy hysteria currently awash in D.C. at 6:36.
And 7 more busloads of migrants rolled into Chicago last night while you were sleeping. Where are they going to go? Because Brandon Johnson has a new idea. We'll tell you about it. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
64 degrees at 6:32. A fire that raced through a hall hosting a Christian wedding in northern Iraq has killed 100, severely injuring 150 others. The Senate advancing a stopgap funding bill to try and avoid a partial government shutdown. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer.
It will allow us to keep working to fully fund the federal government and spare American families the pain of a shutdown.
Authorities in Philadelphia responding last night to widespread reports of looting across that city. Interim Philadelphia Police Commissioner John Stanford.
We started to get multiple calls of certain businesses starting to essentially have their stores broken into or stores ransacked, where we had a number of looting incidents occur.
It happened in a neighborhood called Center City, where the Apple Store, Lululemon, and Foot Locker reportedly were hit hard. 7 Republicans take the debate stage for the second time. Fox's Jared Halpern previews the action from the Reagan Library in Simi Valley, California.
There is one less podium than last month's first GOP debate. Former Arkansas to heighten debate qualifications. For a second time, the frontrunner in this Republican primary, former President Trump, is also a no-show. He says his large lead makes it unnecessary to debate.
He should be there making the case, defending what he did while he was president,
And if he has plans, which I haven't heard any, but if he has plans for the future, to advocate for those as well.
Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie calls the former president's absence disrespectful to GOP voters. In Simi Valley, California, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
You can hear that debate live here on AM 560 tonight. A U.S. soldier detained in North Korea after crossing into that country without permission will be expelled. Private Travis King bolted across the DMZ during a tour rather than board a flight back home due to a Army investigation. A NASA astronaut who broke the record for the longest continuous space flight by an American is back on Earth. Frank Rubio and 2 other cosmonauts returned home on board a Soyuz spacecraft that undocked from the International Space Station this morning, landing safely in Kazakhstan. Cook County prosecutors are dropping charges against a Chicago man who spent more than 3 decades behind bars, tied to the shooting deaths of 2 14-year-olds.
This system needs to be fixed. It's very, very broken. There's more guys like me going through this. I'm just happy that mine is done. Now we have to focus on other people.
Francisco Benitez always maintained his innocence, claiming that he was framed by Chicago police. 2 more cases of E. coli have been linked to an outbreak at a Northwest suburban high school. McHenry County Health Department says now 9 confirmed cases of E. coli are tied to Huntley High School. Cubs continue to lose ground in the playoff chase. Seiya Suzuki, a brutal error in the bottom of the 8th inning in Chicago's 7-6 loss to the Braves last night after leading in that game 6-0. White Sox were pounded by the Diamondbacks 15-4. Phillies clinch a playoff berth last night. The news service of Wilkins Hyundai and Mazda in Elmhurst experienced the next level of excellence at Wilkins Hyundai and Mazda, just minutes from Oak Brook, downtown, and Schaumburg in Elmhurst. View new and pre-owned inventory online, wilkinscars.com. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Freedom Summit Chicago tickets are now on sale. Join AM 560, The Answer, on November 11th at the Westin Chicago Northwest for Freedom Summit, featuring Rand Paul, Judge Janine Pirro from Fox News, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, Sean Thompson, and many more. Tickets are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Automated Systems Incorporated, HealthInsuranceMentors.com, and by Illinois Concealed Carry Training.
Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be due to low testosterone. Schedule your health assessment with my friends at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments for $155 a month, cash pay, or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near Low T Center, or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Building owners, property managers, and chief engineers. This one's for you.
Hello, this is Bruce Diedrich with Waukegan Roofing, your professional roofer. Everything starts on top. Your investment, your building, and everything in it is protected by your roof. It needs to be in good shape. That's where we can help. If it needs to be repaired or replaced, or you think it might, call us. Let's find out. Here's the number.
847-623-1625.
At Waukegan Roofing, our employees are union-trained roofing professionals with OSHA safety training certifications and have thorough knowledge and expertise regarding the various roofing systems we sell, maintain, and install. We know commercial roofing systems because that's all we do. Over 110 years of doing commercial roofs. Waukegan Roofing has the slogan,
Roofs you can rely on.
Because you can. Here's the number to call.
847-623-1625.
And get the info at waukeganroofing.com. waukeganroofing.com.
Do you hear the crowd cheering as the ball hits the hardwood floor? This is the moment. With only 5 seconds left on the clock, you pull up for the game-winning shot. You watch it soar through the air, just for it to fall short because of the exhaustion from playing all night. Don't let this be you. Fuel your body with whole fruits and vegetables to play hard through the night and end the game with a swish. Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Exergen thermometers are a top choice of medical professionals at highly ranked hospitals across the U.S. Accuracy matters, so make Exergen the chosen thermometer for your home and family.
6:39. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time is a service of Wendy's Breakfast. Wendy's new breakfast, 2 for $3 Biggie Bundles let you choose from your fave, including a sausage or egg cheese biscuit, small seasoned potatoes, or medium hot coffee. Limited time only during breakfast hours. U.S. price and participation may vary. Not valid in a combo, though, and single items are at regular price. Accidents in Plainfield, 126 in Ridge, Lockport, the 9th Street Bridge west of Canal, and in Bartlett. Lake Street westbound between Monarch and Naperville closed due to an accident. On the expressways and toll roads, start with the Tri-State jammed up northbound Plainfield to the Hinsdale Oasis. USABA Lakeshore Drive clearing an accident southbound at Michigan Avenue. Bishop Ford, an earlier accident being pulled out of your way inbound between 8094 and Dalton. I-57 remains shut down between 111th and Halstead. It's on the northbound side due to an accident being investigated from the overnight. Interior expressways, it's the major trouble spot right now at 58 minutes into the old post office. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Showers and storms today, a high of 67. 63 right now. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Health Quest Radio with Dr. David Kolbaba. Saturday mornings at 11. Visit healthquestradio.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So, as you've no doubt heard by now, because of all the hewing and crying coming from the left, Trump Truth Socialed recently on the soon-to-be departing Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Mark Milley. Quote, this guy turned out to be a woke train wreck who, if the fake news reporting is correct, there's a statement right there, was actually dealing with China to give them a heads up on the thinking of the President of the United States. This is an act so egregious that in times gone by, the punishment would have been death. This has been taken to mean that Trump is calling for the execution of Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman General Mark Milley.
312-642-5600 is our Turnkey.Pro answer line, and our text line 64636. Type in DA, then a quick comment.
And former DNI Jim Clap on, Clap off, Clap on, Clap off, Jim Clapper, he's very worried.
Oh, really? Are they going to beef up security around Milley?
Part of the experts group. No, he's worried about himself.
Oh, because they're going to come after him next.
Part of the DHS experts group, Jim Clapper, John Brennan, because worried about Trump election, that could mean a political enemies list, imprisoning, executing patriots like Mark Milley and Clap on, Clap off, Jim Clapper.
General Milley raised the possibility that he thought if Trump was reelected, he would throw his opponents in jail. He said that he would be at the top of the list. Do you think that that's a real concern? And are you concerned that you could be on Trump's enemies list?
Well, sure. I think there are probably a lot of people that are potentially on such a list. And again, that's reprehensible. I think General Milley's comment was he didn't think President Trump would be reelected. Well, I'm not so sure about that. So yeah, that's a real concern for many of us.
Are you concerned for Jim Clapper's safety? 312-642-5600. Turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA. Turnkey.pro text line. Will these deep state actors who have been averse to Trump's political interests be imprisoned, gulagged by President Trump in a second term? Gosh, if only we had, again, any sort of historical precedent we could look to on this. Like if he had been elected president previously. Oh, right, he was. And what did he do with his political enemies then? Despite the lock her up chants, led by him at the rallies and on social media and in debates. What did he do to Hillary Clinton? Did he sick Jeff Sessions or Bill Barr on her? Did they? I mean, not to suggest that he could have, even if he wanted to. No, he literally said that this, words to the effect of, this serves no purpose. It's time to move on.
She still hasn't conceded, nor Stacey Abrams. But.
Rather than exact political vengeance.
But then look what they did. They turned around and did to him.
And Jim Clapper and Mark Milley, these deep state actors that perpetuated, I mean, not Milley so much, but Clapper, Brennan, others, that perpetuated the Russian collusion hoax, that ran interference for Biden with the Hunter laptop in advance of the 2020 election. And here they are. They're the vanguard of our democracy, we're supposed to believe. Victor Davis Hanson had a nice observation on this, as he always does. He tweeted out, "All of a sudden, pundits are shrieking as they imagine the impending end of democracy. That is, that a potential President Trump might follow their lead and could do to them what they did to him, weaponizing DOJ, FBI, and CIA against political enemies, sicking the administrative state against loud critics, using presidential fiats to override Congress, trying to force, hire, or partner with independent media to toe party lines, floating phony conspiracy theories to smear enemies, changing voting laws to alter balloting, and on and on. Ironically, the left did all it could both to push the Trump nomination and then, as Lilliputians, to tie him down with 91 indictments in efforts to hamstring what they hoped would soon be an intent nominee. But now they seem terrified, believing that they might be empowering the only Republican candidate who would stoop to use their own tactics against themselves. And given the recent polls, could become in a position to do so. Yeah. The only Republican candidate who would stoop to their levels. That's the important point, in particular in their conversations with. And by the way, this conversation should be just broader than Trump, and as others have mentioned, on policy and thinking beyond Trump to something that exists in a more distant time horizon than the next 4 years. Although the next 4 years are important, and what happens in November of next year is important too. But I mean, let's have a more expansive conversation, for God's sakes. But on this more limited one, what a statement that is. You're worried. I'm talking about the Biden supporter or the never Trumper. You're worried that Trump might stoop to the levels of the people you support. Process that. Ruth and Elgin, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hi, Dan and Amy. I was just going to say that if someone had said to me, well, if you vote for Trump, I can no longer be your friend, my reply would be, and that affects me how? Or, then you never were.
Thank you, Ruth. Appreciate it. Dave in Racine, Wisconsin.
Yes, greetings, Dan and Amy. It seems that the left always projects its own behavior upon those on the right, locking up political opponents, ignoring court orders or the Supreme Court, being lawless. It's Trump it's been Biden who's completely ignored Supreme Court precedents and orders. But Trump, when a court decision went against him, he modified his bills or procedures, and then tried to go within the matter of that court order. And so it seems like it's always projection upon the by the left on to the right.
Hey, Dave, take us out with that song again that you had first. Remember, refresh my recollection on the artist.
Oh, yeah. Give me a second.
Oh, you look.
Why don't you give me that? Give me that. Give me that. Give me that thing. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that thing. Give me that. Give me that thing.
That's wonderful.
Is that that's the theme song?
That's
a commercial. That's a jingle.
Who's the group?
The Pipkins. It was from about 1970. It was based on some, inspired by some kids show.
The Pimpkins.
In England.
Pimpkins? P-I-M?
Pipkins.
P-I-N-K-I-N-S?
P-I-P-K-I-N.
Pipkins.
Yes.
Pipkins. Wait, give me that one more time again. I just want to make sure I memorialize it.
Why don't you give me that? Give me that. Give me that. Give me that thing. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that thing. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that thing.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Lovely. Thank you, Dave. Appreciate that.
He's really good at that.
Yeah.
It's genuine. And
I didn't think he had the upper register. That's why.
He's got it. He has not lost his head voice.
That's a great earworm for today. Frank in Arlington Heights.
I think you should be the CMO for Mayor Johnson's new stores. Got everything all set up.
We're working on it. We're just trying to do our part.
We're stepping up,
Well,
if you know what I mean. Like
on,
Lightfoot likes to call it that. What do you got,
Mr.
Frank?
Trump. Mr. Trump, I was trying to think of an analog for him in history in some respects, and, they're all worried about their bureaucracy being destroyed. This is almost like Georges Boulanger, who was a nationalist in Third Republic France in the 1880s. The Third Republic didn't fall apart until, the Nazis invaded in 1940. So, they got a long way to go, I think. Because they defeated Boulanger, and he was very much like Trump. He had a lot of rural support. Nationalist, was against a lot of the corruption in the Third Republic, especially after the end of, Napoleon III and the defeat by the Germans in 1871, the Battle of Sedan. So Boulanger was a reaction to a lot of that, but he was defeated by their bureaucracy, and that whole thing was put down. And then you had 5 more decades of incompetence, cynicism, decadence, ennui, everything that, just deteriorates a country, as Third Republic France did. They just deteriorated over a long period of time. And that's what I think is going to happen to this country. That's what we're doing. It's a long, drawn-out process of debt and incompetence and bad government. I wouldn't be worried about Mr. Glapper. They got decades to go, I think.
Thanks for the call, Frank. Well, that's a depressing thought, but it's certainly within the realm of possibility. One update on the other side. How the big guy, Mr. 10%, said his family didn't get any money from the Chinese communists.
Yeah, there's some records that dispute that, right?
Yeah, House Oversight Chairman Jim Comer is on the job, and he's got some details on the $260,000 that was wired from Chinese communist affiliated businessman
during the summer of 2019,
who Joe Biden wrote a recommendation letter for his son or his
daughter to go to Brown,
his
right?
kid to go to an Ivy League school. Anyway, here's Comer with updating the details on that transaction.
This Jonathan Lee, who wired the $260,000 from China to Hunter Biden's personal account, he is part of the Chinese Communist Party. He is a huge business person in China with a Chinese-backed entity that funds investments in the United States. So what the one issue in Congress that Democrats and Republicans agree on is we don't want China taking over industries important to our national security. We don't want China buying farmland. This is the guy that does that. Jonathan Lee is the person who represents China. And if you research it, Joe Biden met with Jonathan Lee. He wrote a letter of recommendation for his child to get into college in the United States. There's a relationship that was developed between Joe Biden and Jonathan Lee when he was vice president, and now we have evidence that Jonathan Lee, who Joe Biden said his son never took any money from, said his son never took any money from China. Hunter Biden's lawyer said that Hunter never received any money from this guy. We have evidence that he received over $250,000, and the address listed on the wire was Joe Biden's personal residence.
But Clapper is worried about Trump's postings on Truth Social and the prospect of a political enemies list if he were to be elected. That's what they're worried about. But they're not worried about a president and his family selling out America to her enemies. Not worried about that.
And the mainstream media pretty much ignoring it.
And this is our these are the national security pangendrums, the expert group types.
It's what Chicago is talking about. It's Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy on AM 560. The Answer.
You have the right to know and the freedom to choose what's best for you and your family's well-being. This has been the Trinity Health Freedom Expo motto since it began in 2005. Throughout the years, the Health Freedom Expo provided a platform for reputable and uncensored access to current information and the top products from the natural health industry. The 32nd Health Freedom Expo is on October 14th and 15th at the Tinley Park Convention Center. The expo speakers and exhibitors come from all walks of life and a variety of backgrounds, including healthcare, law, and research and development. The 2023 Trinity Health Freedom Expo will feature nearly 36 expert speakers, including Dr. Bradley Nelson, Dr. Ellen Tart Jensen, Dr. Brian Hooker, and for the private symposium, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, board-certified osteopathic medical doctor, founder of Tenpenny Integrative Medical Center, and vaccine researcher. View the full lineup and register at trinityhealthfreedomexpo.com or call 888-658-3976. Attend the expo on October 14th and 15th because you have the right to a naturally vibrant life.
Apparently, we've got a lot of Pipkins fans out there, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you
That
see
Gimme
the
That
video?
Song was big back in the day, apparently.
Yeah. Did you
before
see the
my
video
day.
yet? Our good friend Bob from Buffalo Grove sent it via email.
No, I have not
so
had
you
a
can
chance.
peruse it at your leisure.
I will look
Thank
forward
you
to that.
very much.
I just want Dave
you watch.
from Racine to continue serenading me with it. I like that better. A lot of people talking about testosterone, but do your homework. Be sure to go to a provider you can trust. I trust my friends at Low T Center. It's where I get my levels checked, have for the past 8 years. At Low T Center, they make it easy. You walk in, take a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you get your results back in about 25 minutes. If you've been feeling tired, grumpy, notice weight gain, and loss of muscle mass, these could be signs of low testosterone levels. Low T Center is not your typical doctor's office where you have a long wait. It's concierge medicine exclusively for men. They have affordable and convenient options for treatment, including physician-monitored self-inject treatments that ship directly to you each month, so there's no need to drive to the center for weekly visits. And right now, Low T Center is only $25 to get your T level tested with results back in about 25 minutes. So what are you waiting for? Log on now to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment online. That's lowtcenter.com. Tell them Dan Proft sent you. When you do, Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
So right now may be the perfect time for you to rethink how you pay for healthcare. And here's why. Because right now, you can join MediShare and save even more than usual. For the average family, switching to MediShare saves about $500 a month, which is a game changer for a lot of people. And what's more, they like it. MediShare has double the member satisfaction rate when compared to health insurance. Double. Bottom line, it works. There's more than 400,000 members who have shared over $7 billion in medical bills, so they can handle your bills too. And here's the thing, if you join before September 30th, you'll save another $150 on your first month when you join. Nice. I'll give you the number here in a second. Just tell them the promo code SHARE to receive your additional savings. And again, the deadline, September 30th. So call now and you'll save even more. 844-57-BIBLE. That's 844-57-BIBLE. 844-57-BIBLE.
Do you hear the crowd cheering as the ball hits the hardwood floor? This is the moment. With only 5 seconds left on the clock, you pull up for the game-winning shot. You watch it soar through the air, just for it to fall short because of the exhaustion from playing all night. Don't let this be you. Fuel your body with whole fruits and vegetables to play hard through the night and end the game with a swish. Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first order as a preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
We got to get the rights to that for the Gimme That supermarket chain that BLM Brandon's going to roll out. That's going to be I think that jingle's going to work.
Yeah, and they've got some videos I'm going to share with you if you want to see it. All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk about that hot Illinois real estate market with Scott the Car Guy Shellady at 7:07.
But now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
A baby girl found abandoned in Westtown. WIND Chicago News Time. 7 o'clock.
An American soldier who fled to North Korea is going to be sent back. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. North Korean state media reports Travis King, who went there after being jailed in South Korea on assault charges back in July, will be expelled from the country.
The soldier ran across the border from South Korea to the north after going on a civilian tour of the demilitarized zone. He'd been facing a dishonorable discharge from the U.S. Army. No word yet on when, how, or where the expulsion will take place.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. A looting spree in Philadelphia. Groups of masked thieves ransacked stores, 15 to 20 of them arrested so far.
Police say the looting is not connected to earlier protests that broke out after charges were dropped against a former officer involved in a fatal shooting last month. As of 3 o'clock this morning, police were still actively responding to reports of looting and property damage throughout the city.
As Fox's Brooke Singman, 7 Republicans running for president will debate again tonight on Fox Business and Fox News Radio. But like the first one, former President Trump is skipping it. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis will be center stage and tells Fox,
I think it's interesting, and he's not willing to stand on that stage. I think he owes it to all the voters to show up, defend his record.
Now, the former president says a judge in New York's ruling that he's liable for fraud related to the Trump Organization in a civil lawsuit is a slandering of a great company, part of a witch hunt. Former President Trump will be meeting with striking auto workers instead of debating tonight in Michigan, the day after President Biden went to a picket line in Wayne, Michigan.
Let's keep going. You deserve what you've earned, and you've earned a hell of a lot more than you're getting paid now.
Iran claims it successfully launched an imaging satellite into orbit amid concerns that Iran's space technology could be part of a future nuclear weapons program. An American astronaut is finally back on Earth.
Touchdown confirmed at 6:17 a.m. Central Time. Rubio's record ride comes to an end.
That's from NASA TV. Frank Rubio spent 371 days in space, the most ever for a U.S. astronaut. America's listening to Fox News.
64 degrees at 7:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Chicago police continue investigating a violent robbery in the city's Bucktown neighborhood. Caught on video where surveillance footage shows the victim walking in an alley when one offender approaches from behind and punches and kicks him. Last night, Bucktown and nearby community residents sounded off at a public safety forum. Police Captain Dave Koenig responded saying the numbers are against police.
There are challenges. These guys dump the vehicles frequently. They'll steal a car, use it to do robberies, get another one the next day. So it's like whack-a-mole. We're constantly, it's cat and mouse.
Several community activists this week called on Mayor Brandon Johnson to do a better job of enforcing the law in the city. The Republican-controlled House Judiciary Committee blames Democrats for the spike in violent crime here in Chicago. Testifying at yesterday's hearing at the Fraternal Order of Police headquarters was Gianni Codwell, whose teenage brother was shot and killed here in Chicago. He said the end of cash bail and do not chase policies means criminals feel emboldened in the city.
If the folks in Chicago don't start voting differently and demanding justice versus becoming numb to what we see as a daily slaughter, then we can't get anything done. We can't have movement.
Chicago crime statistics show overall crime up 77%. Mayor Brandon Johnson and other city elected officials will decide soon on whether to accept a pay hike connected to inflation. The Tribune reports that only 2 of the 50 aldermen are refusing to accept the 2024 pay hike of 2.24% before the September 15th deadline. Mayor Johnson's salary would go up by close to $5,000 and would be the first pay raise for a Chicago mayor since Mayor Richard M. Daley in 2006. Chicago sports last night, Cubs surrendered a 6-0 lead and lost in Atlanta 7-6. Now, just a half-game lead over Miami for the final NL wildcard spot. White Sox pounded by the Diamondbacks 15-4. The news is a service of the Pride stores with 17 locations throughout Chicagoland. Stop by their newest location, the Pride of Kane County in St. Charles, Kirk and Maine. The Pride stores, not your typical convenience store. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher says it's our right.
We have the right to decide whether we want Trump in the Oval Office or not. We have the ability and the right and the authority, the constitutional authority to make that determination, not Fannie Willis or Alvin Bragg or any one of the other George Soros prosecutors who are soft on crime.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, I'm Martha Stewart. Every year, more than 4 million pets enter shelters here in the United States. My friends at American Humane have been helping animals since 1877. The goal is to ensure that pets have a safe shelter, especially during natural disasters. Adopting a shelter pet allows shelters to help more animals awaiting care. Please consider adopting today and take some time to learn more about American Humane's other work at americanhumane.org.
Cable news. Noisy, out of touch, on repeat. Tired of all the lookalikes? So are we. Salem News Channel is here to change the game. Streaming 24/7, free on your TV with the greatest collection of conservative voices. Home to Dinesh D'Souza, Andrew Wilkow, Brandon Tatum, and more. Like you, we say what's wrong and what's right. Unfiltered and unapologetic. Salem News Channel. We're the answer to the mainstream media. Learn more at snc.tv.
What's the best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda? No, it's not voting Republican. A better option is to vote with your wallet. Democrats get easy votes by giving away newly printed money, but we can fight this never-ending scam by making use of physical gold. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a physical gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. These special accounts allow you to preserve your retirement and help the country at the same time. Plus, you pay 0 penalties or taxes on the transfer. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold IRA company I trust, so text PROTECT to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
Cardiologists at Oxford University discovered that classical music lowers blood pressure, and September is Classical Music Month. So put on some Mozart or perhaps a little Beethoven, but if classic music isn't your jam, maybe you prefer classic rock like me. I have another suggestion for you. 120 Life, a functional juice drink made with natural ingredients like tart cherries, cranberries, and beetroot. It's what I reach for when the Marxist mafia gets my blood boiling, which is every day. It's delicious, it's easy, it works fast. 120 Life helps lower blood pressure and will help you stay hydrated as well. You can check it out at 120life.com. That's 120life.com. It's a great website for information and helpful resources to help manage high blood pressure. And for your convenience, you can try their 2-week trial pack with money-back guarantee. Use coupon code LIBERTY at checkout for 15% off your order plus free shipping. Try 120 Life today at 120life.com. Tell them Sean Thompson sent you. So whether it's through Music Beats or Beetroot or even Beethoven, it's all about getting your blood pressure under control.
7:08. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Inbound Kennedy, 73 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Outbound, 41 back out to the big airport this morning. 60 minutes in, an hour from 390 to the old post office on the Ike. Stevenson, 52 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Let's jump right down to I-57. It is getting set to be reopened in moments. It's been closed since just after 1 a.m. between 127th and Halstead. A fatal accident was being investigated there. But again, we expect that to be reopened within minutes. I-57 northbound, again, has been shut down for hours between 127 and Halstead. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Today, cloudy skies, shower and thunderstorm, a high 67. Some showers this evening, then turning out mostly cloudy, low 63. A shower tomorrow morning, then clouds and sun. A high tomorrow at 71. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
63 at O'Hare, next news 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig and Leslie Bolano Sunday mornings at 10. Learn more at investwithwmg.com.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Man, that real estate market in Chicagoland is hot. Woo. Huh? Oh yeah, I'm my home is worth more than I paid for it.
That's funny.
Some new information out you may want to take judicial notice of, or dutifully ignore, like the Chicago Press Corps will, and most who only survive in this state in a state of self-delusion. Illinois is the worst state in America for home appreciation in the last 22 years.
Wow.
Growth in median home values adjusted for inflation between 2000 and 2022. Illinois, 50th out of 50. Growth in real Illinois home values. Real! All you geniuses in the western burbs on the North Shore with your fancy degrees and your big jobs. Do you know what that means? It means adjusted for inflation. I had this conversation with somebody the other week. My home is worth more than what we paid for it. In real dollars? What do you mean? Illinois, over the last 22 years, growth in real home values, 13% in 22 years. Compare that to, say, Indiana, 30%. So, almost 2.5x. Other Dem states, well, there are 49 others ahead of them, so there's plenty of Dem-controlled states that are doing a lot better, too. Missouri, 45%. That's not Dem, it's Republican, but you get the point. Looking at some of our neighbors. Kentucky, 33%. 2.5x. Illinois. Don't even get me started on the leaders in the nation. Texas, Florida, home values are up 100% over the last 22 years, where Illinois are up 13. Montana, Idaho, 117, 139%. No, I tell you don't have to be a magnet, like a magnet for the rich, like Montana and Idaho, but Utah's there at third, Amy. It's good to know.
Yeah.
But, I mean, again, all of our Midwestern neighbors, other blue states, cut it any way you want to cut it. Growth, I'm going to say it again. Growth in real Illinois home values since 2000, worst in the nation, and it's not really close. Michigan is second worst. Just a few states under 20% growth in real home values over those 2 decades plus. In a related story, new data out from the Tax Foundation finds Illinois with the second highest property taxes in the nation. This is close between us and New Jersey, has been for a long time. 2.1% of home value. New Jersey's 2.2. Depends how you slice it. But let's go with the Tax Foundation's numbers. Let's be charitable to Illinois. 2.1% of home value is the property taxes you pay in Illinois. Compare that in Indiana, it's 0.08. Missouri, it's 1.0. Michigan, it's 1.4. I mean, these are not necessarily low-tax states, but they're still lower than here. Wisconsin, 1.6. And when you're talking about a percentage point or more, you're talking about a lot of money, right? A percentage of 1 percentage point of your home value. So you're talking about thousands of dollars, generally speaking. In some cases, tens of thousands. Okay. One has a lot to do with the other, as I've only been saying for 3 decades. By the way, something else, too. Another analytics outfit looked at the 50 property markets nationwide most at risk of a downturn. This is Atom Data Solutions. This is all at wirepoints.org if you want to peruse it for yourself. 12 of the top 50 property markets nationwide most at risk of a downturn are in Illinois counties. 12 of the 50. 20% of the property markets most at risk in a downturn in Illinois. And there are some counties you may be familiar with. Cook, Kane, Kendall, Will, and then some central and southern Illinois counties, too. Peoria, Madison, St. Clair, Kankakee, DeKalb, LaSalle, Macon. But some metro counties, and I would suspect that Lake and DuPage are not far behind Kendall and Will and even Cook. I mean, here's part of the problem. Percent of income to buy a home in Will County is 40%. 5% of the home loans are underwater. In a place like, Peoria County, 15% of the homes are underwater. In a place like Cook County, 12% of the homes are underwater. But like Kane and Will, these collar counties that are on the watch list, because you have to pay out so much of your income, your household income, to buy a home there. Danger, danger, Will Robinson. Most units of government in the country, Illinois. Second highest property taxes. Worst return on investment over 2 decades, good times and bad. Stay the course. What do you say? For more on this, pleased to be joined by Scott the Cow Guy Shellady, market specialist for Market Day Report, 10:30 to 1 p.m. Cow Guy Close as well, 1 to 1:30 p.m., both at RFD TV. Scott the Cow Guy, somebody who fled Illinois, I'm sure you're just shocked to hear these numbers.
I would just hate to be the marketing firm that the state would try to hire to make it look better. I mean, there's nowhere to turn. And, I don't know about you, but I think you said between the years 2000 and 2022, you've only gone up 13% in adjusted value, right, to inflation.
Right.
But if you've had to pay 2% out every year for 20 years in real estate tax,
of course,
I got that as a loser.
I think you've scored that correctly. Yeah, of course you're getting hammered. Yeah, you're getting hammered.
I don't know why I'm laughing. I left when my real estate tax became more than my first job, and my first career job. It was ridiculous back then, and it still is, obviously. But I don't know how you spin it. But maybe they just don't, and they just don't report it, right? They don't even have to spin it if you don't report it. But I'm not surprised at all whatsoever. And there's a lot of folks that I know that are in real estate on the Indiana-Illinois border, and they're in Indiana, and they're just so thankful for the fact that people are jumping off that Illinois ship like rats off of a regular ship.
Do you know if you live in Indiana, your cable bill, if you're with Comcast or Xfinity, is about $50 cheaper just on taxes alone? Because I'm one of those people who call and say, how can I get my bill down? And the lady literally told me, move across the border to Indiana, and my personal would drop $60 a month in taxes.
I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, except for the fact that the numbers don't lie. But at some point in time, like you kicked off the segment, Dan, the glitterati in Illinois won't talk about it. I mean, to me, it's a tragedy. And there's a lot of people, like you said, that are stuck because their homes are underwater. I don't know where you turn, and I can't believe that it's not even worse because of the way that state was treated over COVID. It was shockingly bad to me. The way that they've continued with those high real estate taxes is shockingly bad to me. I mean, anybody that wants to stick around there, I hope Brandon Johnson pushes the envelope to some of these financial institutions, especially with the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and the CBOE, the Chicago Board of Options Exchange, so those people just finally cut ties and leave because right now they've got their feet in cement.
Do you think that that there is a real chance that they leave absent a LaSalle Street tax?
I think they would leave only really because it's a lot easier to leave today than it would have been, say, 10 years ago. That's for sure. So they're much more mobile. It's one truck full of servers from Chicago to Miami, and you've got the Miami Board of Trade instead of the Chicago Board of Trade. But I think that you pay a certain. I talked to you about this. You pay a certain luxury tax for living in the city, right? Because you have better, you have the theater, you have movies, you have nightlife, you have restaurants, you have all these great things that you're willing to maybe pay a little bit more for because they're right at your doorstep. But not anymore. What is the redeeming value of being in Chicago? I mean, because all the railroads meet there? No, that was a 100-year-old idea. I mean, look, I moved from Chicago to Indiana, just over the border into Portage, and there was a big bill done it already. Right? They've gotten I don't know, they spent $2 or $3 billion to run railroad tracks, to run the new train cars into Chicago. This high-speed line they're working on, and I told the mayor of whatever the biggest town out there, I said, Hammond, I said, why are you building a bridge to a place that people are leaving with their hair on fire? You'd be much better spent to turn some of these old abandoned buildings in Hammond and those surrounding counties around the lake there into tech centers where people can use them as offices or rent out offices by the month. Or I mean, it's crazy. I think Chicago is sinking, and when I was a professor of finance at DePaul University in 2015, we did a unit. I had the kids do something. It was Finance 401. Let's look at the city's books of Chicago, and they were technically bankrupt then. I mean, it was a shell game back then. I don't know what they're paying on their interest when they have to go out and sell bonds to raise money for the city, but it's got to be usurious now. I mean, what is going to turn that around? I have no idea, because I think it's beyond the point of return. And now you give me these real estate numbers. I mean, look, we still have, and you're talking to a guy that still has real estate there. We have a family farm in the northwest corner of Illinois. And we're worried about that. I mean, it's to the point where what could possibly take place there to make it better? Because you're actually that Raiders of the Lost Ark stone ball has started to roll. You can stop it.
Well, it's going to get worse. I mean, last night 7 more busloads of migrants came here, and I don't know if you heard, but Brandon Johnson wants to build a tent in each ward, 1 to 2 tents, like a yurt. Similar, no, they actually are yurts in each ward, and then now they're debating whether or not to have permanent housing in abandoned buildings.
I got an idea. Stop letting them in. I mean, what's wrong with that? This is clown world. Everything that they're doing to us, especially when it comes to the Democratic liberal policies, is to upset the middle class. Right? You don't have a border. You don't have police anymore. You're getting taxed to the hilt. I mean, what is there left? I mean, they're coming for your gas stoves, your ceiling fans. I mean, there was even reports that they were thinking about coming for your pets over COVID because they thought they were also spreading the disease. They are not leaving any stone unturned when it comes to disrupting the middle class and trying to make them feel so unnerved that they can get in their brains and start to control people. I think that's what it is. This is ridiculous. Every creature comfort they're taking away from you. They're taxing you to the hilt. They're making your house worth less than it was. Inflation's out of control. Name me one thing that's gone your way as a taxpayer in Illinois.
Well, in addition to that, now they set up what appears to be a de facto PPP program in Kyiv. I thought that was I thought that was for us. We've got a full employment, but we're putting funny money to prop up businesses and employment in Kyiv in Ukraine.
I had the senator from Kansas on my show on Friday, and he told us on air that the real tally is we've sent $113 billion in cash and munitions to Ukraine. Do you know what their annual GDP is?
What?
$200 billion.
$200 billion?
Yeah, and we gave them $113 billion so far. We've given them so far more than half of their annual output as far as an economy. It's absolutely insane. And by the way, they're going to keep. We pay for all 57,000 first responders in that country, every single one of them. Every single the small businesses are allowed to survive with the money that we're sending them. And by the way, if we have a shutdown, which looks as though it's a 70% chance we're going to, that money has been carved out. They continue to get paid. Their first responders get paid while our SNAP people lose their benefits. It's insane. I can't believe this is actually happening.
Meanwhile, over at the Federal Trade Commission, Lena Khan. Yeah, Lena
You've
Khan.
been waiting all day to play that soundbite.
Well, Shatner
Seriously.
is worried about her too.
Uh-huh.
She doesn't like big businesses, and I don't like them either. But I don't like regulators like Lena Khan even more. I mean, I have no affinity for Meta or Amazon, because of the nature of their politics. But I'm not looking for the government to come in and regulate them out of existence either. She is looking to do that with Amazon, as she has previously tried with Meta and others.
Yeah. Well, it goes hand in hand with the fact that if you're a leader, that's a bad word. Winning is a bad word. Jeff Bezos starting a company, Amazon, from scratch. Now he needs to be punished. Okay? This is how they look at it. Success is bad. You need to be on our time. We need to be the ones. We need to take care of you, not anything else. We need to be the higher power. I mean, it's mind control 101, and they're coming for every single thing. And if they can't, that's part of this EV thing, this electric vehicle thing. This is insane. It's got a bigger carbon footprint than a combustion engine. Yet, why are all these big three automakers falling over themselves to acquiesce to a mandate? I mean, it's costing Ford $4.5 billion a year to build a more climate unfriendly car than the combustion engine.
Right. And Trump's skipping the debate tonight to meet with, striking auto workers to let them know, hey, Biden wants more EVs, and that's going to cost you your union jobs.
Yeah, because it takes only 30 to 40% of the labor to make those than it does the other ones. I mean, this is insane. I mean, the average person needs to wake up and look in the mirror and go, I'm watching the downfall of one of the greatest empires of all time. I mean, it really is. I've never, ever thought one man could do this much damage.
Scott the Cow Guy Shelley, market specialist for Market Day Report, 10:30 to 1, and the Cow Guy Close, 1 to 1:30, both at RFD TV. Scott the Cow Guy, thanks as always.
All right,
and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
When this is the sound of a waterfall in nature, there's no cause for concern. But when it's the sound of water gushing through your living room ceiling because a pipe burst inside the wall, there's reason to panic unless you pick up the phone and call 1-800-SERVPRO. Only the cleanup and restoration specialists at ServPro can help make fire and water damage like it never even happened. So make the call to 1-800-SERVPRO at the first sign of water damage. Franchises are independently owned and operated.
Hi, I'm Test Director Rick from ServPro, the leader in cleaning, restoration, and construction. It's my job to make sure our pros are prepared for anything. Storm damage? Fixed. Flood damage? We're on it. Fire damage? Not anymore. Aliens? What? Aliens? We cleaned those sites a while ago. No matter the disaster, our pros will make it like it never even happened. Find out why ServPro is the #1 choice for residential and commercial restoration projects, large and small. Visit servpro.com today.
Dan Proft for Northridge Prep. That's a place where it is great to be a boy. What does that mean? In short, it's thanks to a foundation of an all-boys environment that builds your son up into a man of intellect and character who loves God. That's why it's a good place for boys. The teachers and faculty members become mentors to students. And when you combine that with an atmosphere that's fun, competitive, and challenging, it creates an exceptional experience for your son. The result is that boys love Northridge Prep. They've been educating boys for nearly 50 years, and one of the things that stands out is their commitment to partnering with parents. You hear this a lot with schools, but at Northridge, it's real. Parents can't stop talking about it because they built a community that really works together. Raising kids is difficult, and at Northridge, you can be confident your son is on the right path. They're having an open house on Sunday, October 22nd for boys grades 6 through 12. You can register at northridgeprep.org. Again, that open house is Sunday, October 22nd for boys grades 6 through 12, and register at northridgeprep.org.
Does your business have a problem that needs fixing? Whether you need to change your financial picture, strengthen your leadership team, or help with IT management, Turnkey has solutions. Make Turnkey your small business partner and get ready to streamline success. Inflation and economic downturn don't have to impact your business with the right partner. Now until September 30th, Turnkey is offering the first and last month of services at no cost. That's right. Sign on with Turnkey for any of their IT or business solutions, and your first and last months are free. You'll save hundreds or even thousands. With decades of C-suite experience from their consulting team to over 25 years of managed IT services, Turnkey knows small business. They know how to reduce your costs, grow new revenue streams, and more without having to hire on-site professionals. There's still time to make an impact in the second half of the year. Let Turnkey show you how. Turnkey is Chicago's small business champion. Visit turnkey.pro and start a conversation today.
That's turnkey.pro.
Do you really want to take shots the rest of your life just to lose weight? NJ Diet's typical results are twice as fast as weight loss injections without any of the side effects. Plus, you learn proper portion control and develop healthy eating habits for the rest of your life. By the end of NJ Diet's 40-day program, you will lose 20 to 40 plus pounds, contractually guaranteed. You will lose the weight and keep it off the natural way. NJ Diet uses your hair, saliva, and blood work along with scans to personalize natural solutions and supplements that get your body into the fat-burning zone. Then, NJ Diet uses your DNA info to help you keep the weight off. Locations locally in Skokie and Oakbrook, or available with live online video consultations. Don't take shots the rest of your life. Lose weight quickly the natural way with NJ Diet. Call 855-5-NJ-DIET or schedule your consult today at njdiet.com. That's njdiet.com.
Lots of channels, nothing to watch, especially if you're looking outside of big corporate control. It's time to interrupt your regularly scheduled programs with something worth watching. The new Salem News Channel. Straightforward, unfiltered, in-depth insight and analysis from the greatest collection of conservative minds, all in one place. SNC is home to Dennis Prager, Mike Gallagher, Sebastian Gorka, and more. Watch anytime on any screen. Free 24/7. Find what you're looking for at snc.tv.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, we have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Is there a deal afoot to prevent a quote-unquote government shutdown? We'll start there with Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson, 737.
But now into the newsroom we go with his Michigan hat on, all fired up. Here's Mike Scott.
Let's hope.
Did you lose a bet or something? Or
Lose a bet? I've been a Michigan fan since 1975.
I know. Well, I thought you preferred states, the
Shame.
Sparties over the Wolverines. But.
Oh, no.
Oh.
East Lansing doesn't exist.
I guess I should know my friends.
Yeah. Yes, you should. 63 degrees at 7:32. More than 100 people are dead, 150 injured after a fire at a wedding venue in Iraq in the province of Nineveh. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy says it would be important to have a meeting with President Biden to prevent a government shutdown.
McCarthy is hoping to pass a bill that would pair a short-term government funding extension with a pair of border policy changes backed by Republicans and opposed by Democrats. McCarthy told reporters Biden could keep the government open by doing something on the border. The White House, however, says House Republicans need to stick to the funding deal McCarthy and Biden negotiated in May. But conservatives are pressuring McCarthy to pass legislation way below the top-line numbers agreed to in that deal. Congress needs to pass legislation to avoid a shutdown by the end of the week. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Target is closing 9 stores in 4 states due to organized retail crime.
Target says organized retail crime has put its employees and customers at risk. The company is offering affected workers opportunities to transfer to other stores. The closures will happen October 21st. Target has taken several steps to reduce organized theft that include protecting certain merchandise and increasing security. Brad Ford, NBC News Radio.
Target is closing those stores again because of organized retail crime. A NASA astronaut who broke the record for the longest continuous space flight by an American is back on Earth.
At the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov outside Moscow, the Russian words Jest Posadka, they've landed, and a greeting welcoming Frank Rubio back after his record-setting mission.
Rubio had been floating in space for 371 days before landing in Kazakhstan. 7 are hurt following a chain reaction crash this morning involving 10 vehicles on the inbound Dan Ryan Expressway. Road conditions became bad after the collision caused a fuel spill. The incident happened early this morning in the inbound lanes near 18th. IDOT says there were several crashes involving semi-trucks. Chicago City Council is moving forward with Mayor Brandon Johnson's Treatment Not Trauma initiative. The plan would call for the reopening of 6 clinics closed by former Mayor Rahm Emanuel. The ordinance heads to the full City Council for a final vote next month. And 2 more cases of E. coli have been linked to an outbreak at a Northwest suburban high school. According to the McHenry County Health Department, now 9 cases of E. coli have been tied to Huntley High School. Cubs lose valuable ground in the playoff chase. Seiya Suzuki a brutal error in the bottom of the 8th inning, and the Cubs give up a 6-0 lead and lose 7-6 to the Braves. White Sox surrender 6 runs in the top of the 5th and a 15-4 loss to the Diamondbacks. Phillies clinch a playoff berth with a win over the Pirates. The news, a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges. Join today. 560theanswer.com/join. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka wants to know who these people are.
The Wall Street Journal said that of current voters, 46% would support President Trump today in an election, and 46% would support Joe Biden. Who on God's green earth is that 46% who's going to support Joe Biden? Are you mental patients? Is this one flew over the cuckoo's nest? Who are you?
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Addiction can be a lonely and difficult journey, but you don't have to go through it alone. Simple Steps is a faith-based international addictions recovery program that is here to help provide the support and resources you need. We offer a safe, confidential, and supportive community where you can find hope, healing, and a path forward. With 20 years of success, Simple Steps provides a framework for recovery that is grounded in faith and focused on the transformative power of God's love. Simple Steps meets at 7 p.m. every Friday night at the Quentin Road Baptist Church in Lake Zurich, Illinois. Whether you are struggling with addiction yourself or have a loved one who is, Simple Steps is here to help. Visit our website today at simplestepsrecovery.com or call us at 800-78-GRACE to learn more and get involved. Together, we can take the simple steps towards a life of freedom from addiction. Again, that's simplestepsrecovery.com or 800-78-GRACE.
Hi, folks. Dennis Prager here. You've probably been hearing my colleagues and me talking about investing with YRefi for a while now. You may have some questions, so let's review. It's true. You can earn up to a 10.25% fixed rate of return that is not correlated to the stock market or the Fed. You can turn your income on or off, compound it, whatever you choose, and there are absolutely no fees. There is no attack on principal if you ever need your money back, and you'll get your monthly statement with no surprises. Just go to investYRefi.com. That's invest, the letter Y, then refi, REFY.com. Or call 888-YRefi24 Folks, this is a solid investment that actually helps people. Just go to investyrefy.com or call 888-YREFI24 and tell them Dennis Prager sent you.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm telling you, I love these. I have so many benefits from this. I should be your testimony on TV because they have done so much for me. It really helped me so much.
I've noticed some improvements over time. I noticed that I used to eat a lot of cookies and snack between meals, and I've stopped doing that because I just don't feel a desire to do that. My energy lasts longer, I have more endurance, and a number of things I'm happy with.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Find your next great hire with Indeed. Their hiring platform makes it easy to attract, interview, and hire candidates all in the same place. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
7:39. Let's get an update on the roads. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. And this update is a service of Health Insurance Mentors. 65 or older thinking about Medicare. Medicare done correctly will be the best health insurance you ever have. Call Stephen Tucker today for free Medicare advice. HealthInsuranceMentors.com, 630-674-1551. Eden's at 41 minutes, Lake Cook Road to the junction. Kennedy inbound, an accident between Harlem and Nagel. 76 in from O'Hare into the Circle. The Ike on the inbound side, it's 90 minutes from 390 into the old post office. Stevenson, it's an hour 6 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan in 27 minutes, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Bishop Ford slows up due to an earlier accident inbound between 159th and Dalton. Tri-State accident, left lane block, solid traffic southbound between the Grand Avenue curve and I-88. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Cloudy, couple of showers, maybe a thunderstorm. High 67. 63 right now. Next news at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Get Down to Business with Shalom Klein, the show for business powered by Mirabali Insurance. Sunday evenings at 6.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Senate leaders announce a potential breakthrough in the quote-unquote government shutdown stalemate. Quote-unquote government shutdown. Again, we're talking about the temporary, ultimately paid vacation of about a fifth of the federal workforce. And this is end of days to listen to the D.C. Press Corps report on it this go-around, just as they have every other of the 24 go-rounds in the last 50 years.
Well,
it's really tiresome.
They were interviewing Tia, mom of 4, who needs her paycheck. That's what they featured.
Most important thing is that the TSA agents in Kyiv get their paychecks from us. That's what I'm more focused on.
Exactly.
This deal that was cobbled together between Pagliacci and Mr. Freeze, 19 Senate Republicans voted against it, including our next guest, Ron Johnson, senator from Wisconsin, Republican. He joins us now. Senator Johnson, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, guys, I hope you're doing well.
So you and a lot of other well-known conservatives on the Republican caucus in the Senate, the Mike Lees and the Mike Brauns and the Ted Cruzes and the Josh Hawleys voted against this this deal. Why don't you Don't you want first responders in Kyiv to get paid?
Well, first of all, I don't want a government shutdown. That's why I was supporting getting a vote on a bill that I passed as chairman of the Homeland Security Governmental Affairs Committee, Preventing Government Shutdown Act, which would set up rolling 14-day CR so we'd never have to go through this nonsense again. But I just refuse to participate in this very well-honed process. Listen, D.C. is grotesquely dysfunctional, but there is a very well-honed process for mortgaging our children's future, and we're seeing it play out, right now. And the process is, don't bring up appropriation bills through the entire fiscal year. Start bringing them up, a month before the end of the fiscal year. There's no chance of getting them passed. And then, talk about, the chaos of the government shutdown. And you described that. I think last time around, about 10% of the government actually shut down. Everything else kept operating. We made sure that military people got paid. It's not the calamity that they're portraying it to. But anyway, you use that potential chaos to get enough people to agree to a CR that just happens to run out, in this case, the week before Thanksgiving recess, which probably would be renewed till the day before Christmas Eve or Christmas Eve. And, again, this is what leadership does. It's bipartisan. It's the uniparty in action here. And then they'll drop a multi-thousand-page omnibus spending bill on Congress, in the House, in the Senate, and say, we got to pass this, or you're not going to be able to go home for Christmas. And then enough people cave, and you pass a 3,000-page bill. Nobody reads it. The moment's done. The government's funded. Nobody looks at it. Nobody does oversight on the grotesque amounts of spending, how much is wasted. They just move on to the next year, and it's just lather, rinse, repeat. Don't pass a budget. Don't pass appropriation bills. Wait till September 30th and do it all over again. So, again, this is my 13th year watching this, and I'm simply not going to participate in it.
Well, point of contention with a number of congressional members, including Matt Gaetz, is they don't want any more funding to go to Ukraine. What is your position on that?
That's one of the reasons. I think it's beyond time when we need to bring that war to an end. Putin's a war criminal. I think most Americans are highly sympathetic with Ukrainians who are fighting for their children, their families, their freedom, their territory. So nobody wants to aid and abet Putin, but the only way this ends, we're not going to defeat Putin. He can't afford to lose. It's existential to him. He's got nuclear weapons. He will not lose this war. So what's the objective of this war? You're not going to push him out. You're going to have to settle with him. And every day that goes by that this war doesn't end, the final sentiment is worse and worse and worse because more Ukrainians and Russian conscripts get killed. More of Ukraine gets destroyed, which has to be rebuilt. So, rather than trying to egg this thing on by, adding more fuel to the flames and continue to fund this, we should quietly be moving toward figuring out some level of settlement. By the way, I was the only member of Congress at Zelensky's inauguration. I went back there shortly after that. He wanted peace back then. He was willing to do a peace deal with Putin for East Ukraine, in Crimea. He wanted peace. I'm not sure what happened in the intervening years.
Oh, well, don't worry about rebuilding Ukraine because Penny Pritzker is going to be on the job. So that's going to go fine. It's going to go as well as Superior Bank went under her leadership here in suburban Chicago. It also seems to me that with respect to Ukraine, the argument for the proponents of continued sort of open-ended support that this is a domino, and then he'll go to the Baltics, he'll go to Poland, got undermined by Poland a little bit. Now you can say Poland is making a strategic mistake, but the Poles are pulling out of this open-ended support of Ukraine.
Well, of course, the domino effect, that's been the excuse used, certainly going back to Vietnam. Kennedy had it before he was assassinated, gave an order to pull out of Vietnam, not engage in the war. What did the Vietnam War ever get us other than 58,000 dead Americans? Did that improve our standing in the world? We as Americans have to look back in history honestly. And I'm not sure that our government is giving us an honest history of any of this. But we need to retrospectively look at what has all of our foreign entanglements, all these wars, has it improved our standing in the world? Has it created greater peace and stability? Why is China arming to the extent that they're arming? Would they done that? Were it not for some of the things we had done? Again, we should be asking these questions. We don't. Instead, it's going to be a domino effect. We've got to go to this war, or it's going to get much worse. I don't know. It could get worse. We could have a nuclear holocaust. But in terms of instability in the world, how much worse could it get?
Meanwhile, back at home, and the situation not just on the border anymore, but of course in major sanctuary cities around the country, Jason Owens, the new Border Patrol chief, had this to say recently about the situation at our southern border.
In terms of flow and the threats that we're seeing with fentanyl and with the criminal organizations that are our adversary, it's about as bad as I've ever seen it.
How sustainable is this, your ability to respond to this amount of people at the border?
This isn't sustainable. This is up and down the system. Everybody is overwhelmed, even the government of Mexico, which have been great partners for us. The U.S. Border Patrol, a lot of times our facilities are already over capacity.
And the administration's response is what exactly at present?
Well, it's not even a problem. It's not a crisis. It's just a challenge. And it's a challenge that they claim to be meeting by getting more efficient at encountering, processing, dispersing now probably about 6 million people, which, over half the states have a population less than 6 million people, okay? That's the magnitude of the problem. This is a complete disaster. It's been a complete disaster ever since Biden took office. But the mainstream media largely covers it up. They're not reporting on this. No, this is horrific. The sex trafficking. How do you think these little girls pay their $7,000 to $10,000 human trafficking fee? They get forced into the sex trade. The fentanyl flowing in and killing people on the streets of America. The other involuntary human servitude. The dead bodies in the desert. This is a complete disaster. You don't have a sovereign nation if you don't have a secure border, and don't ask me why Democrats are so wedded to an open border. I think it's pretty obvious. They want these people coming in, being very appreciative of Democrats letting them in this country, and so they can get their votes in the future and completely destroy this country.
It's to increase the Democratic base. There's got to be no other reason.
Is there any conversation going on among your Senate colleagues, and particularly across the aisle, about doing anything about this, or is it just see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil?
Yeah, I mean, they're certainly not holding hearings on this. I'll give Kirsten Sinema credit as a subcommittee chair. She's at least held a couple hearings on this. But the main committee chairman there, Gary Peters, Homeland Security Governmental Affairs Committee I used to chair, I held like 36 hearings on the border. We haven't held one. So no, they're not interested in this. Let's face it, Democratic governance does nothing to build. It only destroys. I mean, if you're asked to develop a strategy to destroy this country, you'd be hard-pressed to come up with a better game plan than what Biden and company are implementing. The open borders, the 4-year high inflation, war on fossil fuel, the embarrassing, dangerous surrender in Afghanistan that has emboldened our enemies, I think probably led almost directly to the invasion of Ukraine. I mean, this is an utter disaster. How could anybody approve of his job? I mean, what's wrong with these 20, 30% that are still holdouts? We think he's doing a good job. His governance has been a disaster. Democrat governance is a disaster.
How's decorum going in the Senate? Have you switched from suits to like a Packers pullover, or what are you wearing to work these days?
Yeah, Badgers hoodie.
No, I think most senators have enough respect for the institution, even as dysfunctional as it is, that no, we're not taking the bait. I'm glad to see that your Senator Dick Durbin split with Senator Schumer and wants to recreate the standards. I know Joe Manchin is trying to do that as well. This is, again, what other standards do the Democrats want to destroy? I mean, is nothing sacrosanct? Is nothing sacred to them? Do they have to tear down everything? Seems like they do.
Yeah, it is an interesting sort of symbolic play by the Democrats, consistent with their overall disposition towards all things American, traditional traditions and institutions and otherwise. Yeah, it is rather symbolic, isn't it?
It's just let's destroy.
The border situation, maybe that has been subordinated to this bigger issue. Axios, as usual, on the job with really important news reporting. There is a whole of government effort, it would appear, to prevent President Biden from tripping. We've got physical therapists. He's got new sneakers. Maybe he'll be wearing the Fetterman garb soon. We don't know. The exercises for balance, proprioceptive maintenance maneuvers the president is involved in so he can walk the picket line with UAW workers. The capacity, competence, confidence. What's the scuttlebutt about Biden's capacity for the job in addition to the substance of the job that's being done in his name?
Well, first of all, you're exactly right. This is the way the mainstream media creates a shiny object to distract America from the disaster that is Democrat governance. I mean, so they don't have to cover the open border. They don't have to cover the war on fossil fuel. They don't have to cover 40-year high inflation. So they focus on this. I think most people in America, and this is borne out by polls, realize that President Biden, A, is physically and mentally unfit for this enormously challenging job, as well as now more people are, more than 60% believe that he's corrupt. That he absolutely was involved in Hunter's businesses, was aware of it, and probably actively involved. So he's unfit because he's corrupt. He's been head of the Biden crime family for decades. And now he's, again, I take no joy in this, he's deteriorating. That's what happens when you age. There's nothing good about getting old that I found out. And when you get over 80, it starts happening pretty rapidly. And we are unfortunately witnessing this in the President of the United States. He's just unfit for office.
Your reference to the impeachment inquiry afoot, I know you're on the Senate side. The House has to do its work first. But as you're watching, and I know you and Grassley have been involved in unearthing a lot of this too, which has been important. But as you're watching what the House is doing, are you impressed? Are you satisfied with the effort underway in the House?
Yeah, I think James Comer and Jim Jordan have done a really good job adding to the record that Grassley and I laid out. We had more than enough evidence that it would have been covered, should have convinced America never to elect this guy. But combined with the subpoenas they're starting to issue, the whistleblowers have come forward, we're getting a lot more pieces of the puzzle. But again, it's very clear. I mean, the Biden family has been corrupt for decades. They've been, lining their own pockets. And again, it's obvious. I mean, why would anybody pay Hunter Biden and the family tens of millions of dollars? For what? I mean, what value do they bring? I'm manufacturing. You got to produce $100, $200 million worth of product to make $10 million. It takes a lot of work, a lot of capital investment. All that Hunter had was selling the Biden name and the influence. It's obvious. It's corrupt. And once again, the mainstream media is complicit in covering up that corruption.
He is Republican Senator from Wisconsin, Ron Johnson. Senator Johnson, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Have a great morning.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Is your prostate secretly being destroyed without you knowing it? All the ads for these prostate pills like Super Beta Prostate, Saw Palmetto, Prostastream, Prostagenics, and others. Want to know which pills work and which are garbage? Now you can. Get a free copy of the new guide, Prostate Secrets, that pulls back the curtain on the prostate pill industry. Learn what is really in these pills. Which pill has over 987 adverse event reports filed against it with the FDA? It's shocking. Learn the one food to avoid that is a prostate killer, and discover the 3 so-called health foods that destroy your prostate. Get your free copy at prostatesecrets.com. That's prostatesecrets.com. This free guide will show you how to end your prostate problems without drugs or surgery, 5 important things to do to protect your prostate, and much more. Warning, this guide is controversial and may be offensive to some readers as it pulls no punches. So go to prostatesecrets.com. Prostatesecrets.com. That's prostatesecrets.com.
TV news. It's a love-hate relationship. Well, let's be honest. More hate. We agree. That's why we're different. Salem News Channel has assembled the greatest collection of conservative minds all in one place. Home to Charlie Kirk, Hugh Hewitt, Eric Metaxas, and more. There's finally a place on TV for lovers of freedom like you. Watch anytime on any screen, free 24/7. Find what you're looking for at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm telling you, I love these. I have so many benefits from this. I should be your testimony on TV because they have done so much for me. It really helped me so much.
Well, I've noticed some improvements over time. I noticed that I used to eat a lot of cookies and snack between meals, and I've stopped doing that because I just don't feel a desire to do that. My energy lasts longer, I have more endurance, and a number of things I'm happy with.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right. Coming up on... Oh, wait, you didn't ask me what fraternity Eli joined.
What fraternity did Eli join? It's back here.
It's such a genuine... I felt the love in that one.
You know my position. You shouldn't join one.
Well, he got an offer from Teak and from Phi Psi, and he took Phi Psi. I wanted him to take Teak because that's where my competitive eating boyfriend was. He was a Teak.
Mm.
And he swallowed, I think, 100 goldfish at the Teak toga party.
Wow.
Wow.
Those are glorious days.
Those were
City.
good times,
oh,
man. But no, I love the Teak House and the Phi Psi House. Got a winner this time.
We'll ask John Canzara what fraternity he was a member of in addition to FOP at 808.
But now let's go to the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Slick conditions causing deadly accidents this morning. Rain showers rolling through the area, and WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
In 12 hours, 7 Republicans take the spotlight. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's how many will be on stage at the Reagan Library for the second presidential debate.
The aircraft President Reagan used as Air Force One will hang above the candidates' heads.
Fox's Jared Halpern in Simi Valley, California.
There is one less podium than there was at the first debate. Former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson failed to qualify. And like the first round, the front runner in the GOP primary, former President Trump, is declining to take part.
Trump being a no-show again bothers Chris Christie.
It's a missed opportunity for him, but most importantly, it shows disrespect to Republican Party voters.
The debate will be on Fox Business TV and on Fox News Radio will provide special live coverage beginning at 7 p.m. Eastern, foxnewsradio.com. The former president's calling a judge's ruling he's liable for fraud related to the Trump Organization in New York, a politically motivated witch hunt, just like the criminal cases he faces.
Judge Arthur Engoron's decision came in the civil lawsuit against the former president filed by New York Attorney General Letitia James. She claims banks and insurers were not given true valuations of Trump properties and holdings.
Fox's Gernal Scott. In skipping tonight's debate, the former president will go to Michigan to meet with striking auto workers the day after President Biden joined picketers there.
Wall Street didn't build the country. The middle class built the country.
As House Republicans consider impeaching the president over alleged ties to his son Hunter's overseas business dealings, Oversight Committee Chair James Comer tells Fox they have bank records showing wire transfers in 2019.
Hunter Biden received from the Chinese national. The beneficiary address listed was Joe Biden's home address.
The president has said in the past his son didn't get money from China, and he's not involved in those businesses. North Korea says it'll kick the American soldier who fled there in July out of the country. Travis King crossed the border to avoid being sent back to the U.S. for Army discipline after being jailed for assault charges in South Korea. America's listening to Fox News.
63 degrees, cloudy and rain showers at 8:02. 7 are hurt following a chain reaction crash that involved 10 vehicles on the Dan Ryan early this morning near 18th. IDOT officials say there were 2 separate crashes involving semis and a fuel spill. Chicago police continue investigating a violent robbery in the city's Bucktown neighborhood that was caught on video. The incident happened Monday in the 2000 block of North Damon last night. Bucktown and nearby community residents sounded off at a public safety forum. Police Commander Rodney Hill was on hand.
Well, year to date, over 300 robberies have been committed, and the clearance rate is 10%.
Community activists this week called on Mayor Brandon Johnson and Cook County State's Attorney Fox to do a better job of enforcing the law in the city. The GOP-controlled House Judiciary Committee blaming Democrats for the violent crime spike in Chicago, holding a hearing yesterday at the Fraternal Order of Police headquarters. Speakers blasted the state for abolishing cash bail last week, including Carlos Yanez, a retired, disabled Chicago police officer who was shot 5 times, saying criminals know there are lax policies that can't hold them accountable.
It is time to stop coddling criminals and holding them accountable for their actions. Only then will they stop and think before they carjack, rob, shoot, or kill a law-abiding citizen.
Meantime, the police department tells us an 18-month-old toddler was left unattended in the 1800 block of West Ohio around 4 p.m. yesterday. The girl was found abandoned in the Westtown neighborhood, transported to Lurie Children's Hospital this morning in good condition. Cubs lost to the Braves 7-6. White Sox pounded by the Diamondbacks 15-4. The news a service of Protect and Grow with Tim Stearns. Saturdays at noon. Enjoy weekly discussions to a secure retirement. 8:04. Time for the AM 560 Business Beat, a service of Signature Bank. Visit signaturebank.bank for all your commercial banking needs. Now the latest from the Fox Business Network.
I'm Elizabeth McDonald, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Amazon shares are narrowly higher this morning after the 4% slump that followed the Federal Trade Commission accusing Amazon of anti-competitive practices, though Barron says the case will likely take years to go through the courts. And even if the FTC eventually wins the case, it's not obvious what comes next. Shoppers are still buying from discount fashion retailer H&M. Its summer quarter earnings top predictions, though H&M does say hot weather in Europe has cut into sales in September. Airlines and airport operators in Europe are anticipating a busy winter travel season and are planning to hire thousands of workers. The International Air Transport Association is predicting global passenger traffic will almost reach 2019 levels by the end of December. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jimmy Cosola, invested in you.
Freedom Summit Chicago tickets are now on sale. Join AM 560, The Answer, on November 11th at the Westin Chicago Northwest for Freedom Summit, featuring Rand Paul, Judge Janine Pirro from Fox News, Dan Proft, Amy Jacobson, Sean Thompson, and many more. Tickets are on sale now at freedomsummitchicago.com. That's freedomsummitchicago.com. Sponsored in part by Best Dental Group of Bartlett, the Illinois Family Institute, and by Alpha Wealth Group.
The following is not an actor, but a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I'm Corey, and this is my story. I was going through some financial troubles paying off my credit cards. I was paying high interest rates, and it just wasn't getting any better. And I knew I had to do something. So my mom told me about Trinity, and so I decided to call. Trinity was able to do something that I couldn't. I'm paying off my debt, I'm saving thousands, and things are really looking up. I promise you guys, you will not regret it when you call Trinity, because it was such a relief and less stress in my life, and it was the best thing I could have done for myself, because once I called Trinity, they took care of me, and I felt such a relief, a weight off my shoulders. Trinity was great to work with. They wanted to help me. I love it.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-990-6976.
I'm Corey, and I'm debt-free for keeps.
1-800-990-6976. If your money is not earning at least 5.25% tax deferred, you need to call Professional Life and Casualty. They're offering a 5.25% APY on new funds deposited into your annuity, traditional IRA, or Roth IRA accounts. Rate subject to change. Please call to confirm. With Professional Life and Casualty, you pay no surrender charges, no administrative fees, and no withdrawal fees. Professional Life and Casualty has been providing insurance and annuity products for over 60 years. Visit plcinsurance.com. plcinsurance.com. They'll send you a free guide to tax-deferred, no-fee annuity. Earn 5.25% APY on annuity, traditional IRA, or Roth IRA. Pay no surrender charges, no administrative fees, and no withdrawal fees. Only from Professional Life and Casualty. Call 1-800-651-1800. That's 1-800-651-1800.
What's the best way to stop Joe Biden's agenda? No, it's not voting Republican. A better option is to vote with your wallet. Democrats get easy votes by giving away newly printed money, but we can fight this never-ending scam by making use of physical gold. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why I recommend a physical gold IRA from the Birch Gold Group. These special accounts allow you to preserve your retirement and help the country at the same time. Plus, you pay 0 penalties or taxes on the transfer. To learn more, text the word PROTECT to 989898, and my friends at Birch Gold Group will send you a free info kit on gold IRAs. Birch Gold is the only gold IRA company I trust, so text PROTECT to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
Paid for by Birch Gold Group.
8:08, Team Hochberg Traffic Center time. Travel times continue to go up. 41 on the inbound Edens Lake Cook Road to the junction. The Kennedy, 90 minutes. O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. The Ike, solid between First Avenue and Cicero. Almost 90 minutes now, 87 minutes from 390 into the old post office. On the outbound side, you're jammed up solid Cicero to Des Plaines Avenue on the outbound Ike. Stevenson, 70 minutes from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan, 35, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. DuSable Lakeshore Drive, jamming up northbound Stevenson into Monroe. Accident on the Tri-State 294 southbound. Left lane block between the O'Hare Oasis and the Reagan I-88. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast with Steve Williams.
Today, mostly cloudy with a couple of showers, thunderstorm and high 67. Some rain this evening, then cloudy, low 63. A shower in spots tomorrow morning, then clouds and some sun. The high tomorrow at 71. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
64 at O'Hare and along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update, 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. So yesterday, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan and friends in town to host a hearing, field forum, if you will, on crime in Chicago, as they'd previously done in New York. A testimony from locals included Gianno Caldwell, friend of the show, whose brother was murdered on the South Side about a year and a half ago. He was on the show. He had this to say during his testimony.
Living in Chicago should not come with a death sentence, but it does for too many Chicagoans. The elected officials here have systematically endangered the lives of all Chicagoans, but especially those of color, the marginalized who they claim to care about the most.
And in addition to that offering, which was pointed, appropriately so, Carlos Yanez, who is the officer who was Ella French's partner, he was seriously injured on the night that she was murdered. He named names, and that's why I really appreciate one of the reasons I appreciate his testimony yesterday. He named a name you're familiar with. Her name is Kim Fox.
COPA continues to serve suspension days to officers like candy on Halloween. Cook County has its own issues under Kim Fox's administration. I've never heard of so many state's attorneys resigning or transferring to other counties, refusing to no longer work under her.
And he named another name, effectively naming Pritzker, when he, in the post-game press conference, discussed the potential impact of Pritzker's purge law, the so-called Safety Act.
I just would like to see some accountability. I feel that a lot of leaders and elected officials right now that came up with this Safety Act, with this cash bail, should be held accountable for when these offenders are released and then attack the victims and the witnesses that are basically going to be their witness, for court. It's terrible what's going to happen, and I already see it happening, and they should be held accountable.
For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by the president of the Chicago Fraternal Order of Police. Chicago FOP hosted the House Judiciary hearing yesterday. John Canzara joins us. John, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Dan and Amy.
What was your takeaway from yesterday's testimony, coverage, et al.?
The facts aren't anything really new. They're certainly facts we all knew. The reality was adding faces and emotion and stories to the facts that people can relate to. Mr. Caldwell was absolutely riveting in his testimony. Carlos, I couldn't be prouder, especially, Carlos is also an FOP board member. He nailed it and literally knocked it out of the park, and I know it meant a lot to him, and I recommended him actually to the committee to give testimony because I just think he's a relatable figure that puts a face on the violence in this city.
But do you think anything is going to change because of yesterday's hearing?
Well, the House Judiciary Committee doesn't really have much leverage. I don't know what Washington, D.C. can really do when it comes to rogue prosecutors. I hope they can possibly figure something out, but the reality is the Chicago Police Department has 7 layers of oversight for our officers to have to deal with. 7 different hurdles of people saying in Monday morning quarterbacking what we do. What is the oversight for prosecutors in this country? Nothing. They get elected and they could do whatever they want. The simplest example is how Kim Foxx is allowed to interpret a shoplifting statute and not charge anybody unless they shoplift over $1,000. That's in clear violation of the felony statute.
What has this was less talked about, but I mean, what has the impact of the migrants being housed in police stations and just the general additional pressure, resource allocation, pressure on resource allocation, and general pressure on policing? What has that been over the last several weeks and months as the city elders try to figure out what they're going to do with all the people coming in?
Well, you get a new mayor and you kind of hope against hope that things are going to be different. We have a new superintendent later today, more than likely, so you kind of see maybe a little light at the end of the tunnel, and you got to keep dealing with this. They just shut down the 16th District Police Station yesterday to clean it because there's a scabies issue there. Not only were migrants there with it, but also an officer got scabies.
Ugh. Well, here's an idea. Don't let them in there. Why are they camping out? It's just disgusting.
Agreed. And it's a reoccurring theme. We've argued, complained, filed complaints with OSHA. Nobody seems to give a damn. But the response from the city was, we will clean the lobby. But what they fail to realize, whether ignorance or just they don't give a damn, is that issue was dragged out throughout the whole department and that whole station. The whole station needs to be fumigated in theory and closed down, whether it's for sections at a time, whatever. But the whole place needs to be cleaned, not just the lobby.
What is being communicated beyond this sort of temporary problem of police stations as way stations for migrants? What's being communicated from, if anything, from the 5th floor to police about their role and responsibilities with respect to this population? Anything?
So, yeah, well, the mayor's chief of staff, we've been in contact with him. I will say Rich Gaitis has absolutely responded when called or returning phone calls. That's not been an issue. I was told personally that the plan was to have them all out by the end of this month, out of the police stations and into brick and mortar situations elsewhere in the city. Well, Sunday's coming fast. We shall see how real that really is.
Yeah, but 7 more busloads were dropped off last night. It was supposed to be 8, and it turned out to be 7. And they're like, I just fear that when those people leave the police districts, that then the newcomers are going to move right back into it.
That's exactly what I brought up to Rich. I said, okay, great. You get the police stations emptied out. You put them all on these brick and mortar leases you guys are signing. The tent city they're building will be ready, and that will be a processing and overflow kind of situation. I said, but what happens when the buses keep coming? Brick and mortar places are full. The tent cities are full. Then where are they going? It better not be back into the police station.
Well, the other thing is, are you supposed to provide security for these installations? I mean, we've had crimes reported among the migrants that were being housed, if you will, at O'Hare Airport and elsewhere. We've seen this around the country. So what is there going to be a police patrol for migrant areas like any other neighborhood in Chicago? Is that how it's going to be?
I have no clue. I would assume, given Channel 5's investigation on where the money's being spent, they'll probably have some outside connected law firm probably paying security guards more than they pay Chicago police officers currently to go and sit on these situations. It's just such a screwed up situation, and it's been avoidable. I applaud Alderman Napolitano, Lopez, and the rest who signed to have a ballot initiative about rescinding the sanctuary city status. We'll see where that goes, but at least there's some efforts being made to try and unwind this mess.
Garrido, in his testimony, retired Chicago Police Lieutenant John Garrido, in his testimony yesterday mentioned that CPD is down 1,700 officers from where they need to be. Is that number accurate, number one? And then number two, what is the plan, if there is one, to add to the ranks, if that's even attractive enough for people to want to go to the academy and become a Chicago police officer? I don't know.
So the number kind of fluctuates. It's hard to put a bullseye on it, actually. I think 1,700 is a pretty good target number. You can go anywhere from 1,600 to 2,000, depending on who you ask. But the recruitment issue isn't going away anytime soon. And it's strictly because far too many politicians and news outlets have villainized this profession and made it unattractive where nobody wants it. But there's also an issue with public service in general. The fire department, even when they gave their test, had historically low interest in becoming firemen, which was never an issue also. And it's not like their profession is getting imprisoned for using too much water or breaking too many windows at a fire.
Wait,
So,
I see billboards up around the expressways that come become a Chicago police officer. Those aren't working.
And, well, I mean, it doesn't work, but all you can do is try, right? I applaud at least efforts of trying to encourage a different mindset of the police department. But I know when it comes to recruitment bonuses, which a lot of other departments are doing, I know that's one thing that Chief Snelling is not in favor of. He doesn't believe that you should be, basically, I don't want to say bribing, I don't know, incentivizing people to come take this job to that level. It's a good paying job right now, and he believes that that's enough. We've had that conversation.
Well, once Larry Snelling is the new police superintendent, can he get to Kim Foxx? And do you think that anything's going to change when he is in office or in his position?
I mean, she seems pretty stubborn. I mean, even her own husband called her a bully. So I don't see Chief Snelling making any difference, really. So as far as Kim Foxx's office is concerned and charging, but I guess hope springs eternal.
Well, I mean, she wouldn't let him play his video games.
Yeah, I mean, what 50-year-old man doesn't like his video games?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Call of Duty is calling in the basement.
So where do we stand with negotiations between FOP and the city on a contract? Where does that stand?
Well, we've been in the interest arbitration process for a little while now, and it also bled off into mediation, and those conversations have been pretty in-depth, and there is pretty much an agreed-upon package, if you want to say that, where the interest arbitration process would conclude. It was all contingent upon Chief Snelling becoming the superintendent, getting that hurdle out of the way, and then focusing on this package and presenting that along with the two awards that Arbitrator Ben has already awarded us, and kind of present it all together to the city council and go with it from there. So I would assume once Chief Snelling is the superintendent later today, in the very near future here, we should have an announcement about the package that us and the city have negotiated to this point and see where it goes.
Even with Snelling coming on as a superintendent, I know you're guardedly optimistic and supported him for the post. But, I mean, do you still see Brandon Johnson as somebody who is a antagonist, or do you see any possibility that there'll be a constructive relationship between the mayor and FOP?
I mean, there's nothing, I shouldn't say there's nothing. There's nothing major to say that there isn't opportunity here. The thought that, okay, the city finally got rid of the blight that was Mayor Lightfoot, and was Brandon our pick? Everybody knows it wasn't, but I think Mayor Johnson has tried to some degree to be different, and that's applauded, that he's not in front of the microphone screaming and ranting and raving about the police are the problem for everything in this city. So I would like to think there's optimism to think that the mindset, at least as far as I'm concerned, is that we didn't think we were going to see the real Brandon Johnson until after the convention next year anyway. So that, in theory, gives us a year. And with Chief Snelling becoming the superintendent and the situations that are inevitably going to occur in this city, that Superintendent Snelling could kind of educate him in a way that maybe he doesn't understand police work right now, and highlight some things and change his perspective a little bit, so that once the convention is gone, Mayor Johnson is not the concern that we have going forward in 2024.
We'll see what happens when the real Slim Shady stands up, won't we? Yes, that's going to be interesting. John Canzara, president of Chicago FOP. John, thanks as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good morning.
Thank you. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Dave Nissen, CEO of PKF Mueller. As a CPA firm, we have been serving our business clients since 1968 by providing audit, accounting, tax, advisory, and consulting services. We as trusted advisors go beyond what our clients hired us to do by thinking outside the box to understand their operations and industry. We want to discover ways to increase their net income and cash flow by reducing costs or increasing efficiencies. To this end, PKF Mueller provides several client value-added services through strategic relationships. Our partners are specialists and serve the same type of clients that we do, and add value by reducing our clients' overall electric and gas costs, discovering inaccuracies and overcharges on utility bills, assisting in financing of real estate, and helping to reduce uncollectible accounts and bad debt expenses. To learn more about our value-added service providers and how we can assist, call me directly at 630-524-5274 or dnissen@pkfmueller.com.
Balance of Nature, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm telling you, I love these. I have so many benefits from this. I should be your testimony on TV because they have done so much for me. It really helped me so much.
I've noticed some improvements over time. I noticed that I used to eat a lot of cookies and snack between meals, and I've stopped doing that because I just don't feel a desire to do that. My energy lasts longer. I have more endurance, and a number of things I'm happy with.
Start your journey to better health with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
When your home or business has an insurance claim, the next step is very important. The claim process with insurance can be tedious, hard to understand, and difficult to navigate. You need someone working for you. You need a licensed claim adjuster. Why? The insurance company will send out their inspectors that work for them, get paid by them, and represent them, not you.
This is Dan Lights from Crosscom. We inspect your property, file your claim, negotiate the damages, and maximize your settlement with your insurance company. If we complete the repairs approved by your insurance company, our service is free. Crosscom Public Adjusters has turned denied claims into approved claims. We've also increased insurance claims anywhere from 23 to 1,000%. We are licensed by the Department of Insurance and work in Illinois, Northwest Indiana, and Southern Wisconsin. Crosscom Public Adjusters, 630-871-5500. Online at crosscominc.com. That's crosscominc.com. Crosscom, building trust for over 20 years.
Dan Proft here for Willows Academy. Willows is an authentically Catholic, all-girls school that supports traditional values. For nearly 50 years, Willows has partnered with families in the Chicagoland area to educate young women who will change the world. How do they do it? The school develops virtue, intellectual clarity, and confidence in students to live by the values that have made America great. With all the pressure on girls from society and social media to conform, Willows offers your daughter a supportive environment that helps her understand and live the balance between authentic freedom and personal responsibility. Check out Willows Academy at the open house on Sunday, October 15th. I got to tell you, the quality of the education and the values of the school will give you serious peace of mind. Come and check out Willows Academy at the open house on Sunday, October 15th at 1 p.m. Register online at willowsacademy.org. That's willowsacademy.org. Open to girls 6th to 12th grade. That's willowsacademy.org. Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be due to low testosterone. Schedule your health assessment with my friends at Low T Center. They now offer the convenience of monitored self-inject at-home testosterone treatments for $155 a month, cash pay, or covered by most health insurance. If you don't live near Low T Center, or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy to get started. Only your first 2 visits are in person. Go to lowtcenter.com to book online. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Have you been struggling to find an easy, safe, and secure document scanning solution for Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, SharePoint, or OnBase by Highland? Your struggle is now over, and it's time to get your documents and operations into the 21st century. With IoT Smart Connected Scanning, it's easy to turn physical paper into digital documents and have them directly uploaded to the cloud with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. And you don't need a degree in computing or IT to make it happen. Using QR code technology uniquely configured for your specific business, anyone can set the IoT Smart Connected Scanning device up in 5 minutes or less, saving your organization money and valuable time. Remote employees can even capture documents and send them safely and seamlessly. Organize documents efficiently and securely with IoT Smart Connected Scanning from IDT. To see a demo or to order now, go to ready4idt.com. That's ready4idt.com. Use promo code SMART and receive 10% off your order. IDT, putting paper in its place.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Richard Hanania, who's a research fellow at the University of Texas and the founder of the Center for the Study of Partisanship and Ideology, joins us at 8:38 to discuss his new book, The Origins of Woke. The Origins of Woke with Richard Hanania, 8:38.
Oh, how it all started. But now let's head into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
8:30, 63 degrees. Democrat U.S. Senator Bob Menendez of New Jersey has arrived at a federal courthouse this morning to answer charges alleging he used his powerful position to secretly advance Egyptian interests and carry out favors for local businessmen in exchange for bribes of cash and gold. Authorities in Philadelphia responded late last night to widespread reports of looting across the city. Interim Philadelphia Police Commissioner John Stanford.
We started to get multiple calls of certain businesses starting to essentially have their stores broken into or stores ransacked, where we had a number of looting incidents occur.
Roughly 15 to 20 arrests were made. U.S. officials say Private Travis King is in American custody. He had bolted into North Korea 2 months ago. He almost certainly is not ending his troubles by going back into American custody. He's been declared AWOL by the Army. Fire that raced through a hall hosting a wedding in northern Iraq has killed 100, injuring 150. President Joe Biden made history, the first sitting president to join striking union workers yesterday on a picket line.
Made a lot of sacrifices, gave up a lot, and the companies were in trouble. But now they're doing incredibly well. And guess what? You should be doing incredibly well, too.
Biden was there for only about 15 minutes online with the UAW. 7 are hurt following a chain reaction crash earlier this morning that involved 10 vehicles on the inbound Dan Ryan near 18th. IDOT says there were separate crashes involving fuel spills. Cook County prosecutors dropping charges against a Chicago man who spent more than 3 decades behind bars. Francisco Benitez is happy that charges against him were formally dismissed, but believes things need to change.
This system needs to be fixed. It's very, very broken. There's more guys like me going through this. I'm just happy that mine is done. Now we have to focus on other people.
After being convicted in 1991, Benitez always maintained his innocence. Plans are in the works to bring back a Chicago to Rockford rail service. The Illinois Department of Transportation held a meeting yesterday to discuss the project. Metra service will connect Rockford to Chicago with stations located in Rockford, Belvedere, Huntley, Elgin, and Chicago, if fully funded. Construction is expected to begin in 2025, service 2027. Cubs lose more ground in their playoff chase. Seiya Suzuki, a brutal error in the bottom of the 8th inning, giving the Braves a 7-6 win over the Cubs in Atlanta. White Sox lost to the Diamondbacks 15-4. Hall of Fame third baseman Brooks Robinson died Tuesday at the age of 86. 18-time All-Star, 16-time Gold Glove winner, and 2 World Series rings, 1966 and 1970. The news, a service of the AM 560 Advantage, where membership has its privileges. Join today. 560theanswer.com/join. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher sees an attack on free speech.
What I'm not too clear on is when the door got cracked open, where today the government is criminalizing speech to such an extent that they want to lock up the 45th president of the United States. It's insane to witness the absolute destruction of speech in this country.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer. Are you considering a unique way to enhance your investment knowledge this year? Then sign up today for the all-inclusive Eagle Financial Publications Cruise. Along with our trusted partner, The Money Show, we're setting sail this December to explore some of the most beautiful and unspoiled destinations in the Caribbean. But this is no ordinary vacation. It's a chance to learn from top Eagle financial experts like best-selling authors George Gilder, Mark Skousen, and others who will be hosting a series of workshops and seminars throughout the trip. Imagine lounging on the sun deck while discussing investment strategies with like-minded individuals, or enjoying a gourmet dinner at the same table with one of our leading financial authorities. This once-in-a-lifetime cruise is a perfect way to combine education and relaxation to achieve your investment goals. This cruise will sell out quickly, so visit EagleFinancialCruise.com today to learn more and to secure your cabin. That's EagleFinancialCruise.com. Eagle Financial is a division of Salem Media Group.
Sometimes Balance of Nature gets feedback that Dr. Howard should be played by a better actor. Well, maybe they're right, because I am not an actor, and I don't want to be. I hope that you understand this is real. People are sharing their success stories because their quality of life has improved.
The acute rehab was quite a journey. I thought maybe this is the best it's going to be until I took Balance of Nature.
I had low energy, I wasn't sleeping good at night, and then my wife suggested we try Balance of Nature. My energy came back, it's changed my life.
A surf session can be pretty physically demanding, and Balance of Nature helps me do that.
Quality is what life is about, and that's what we strive for at Balance of Nature. We are a results-based company looking to improve your quality of life.
Go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your first preferred order and get this special offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
This is Carol Platt-Liebau for townhall.com. Americans watched as 8,000 illegal immigrants per day crossed our border last week. What they didn't see is the migrants the Biden administration is sneaking into the U.S. Under this stealth program, illegal immigrants can fly directly from their hometowns into a U.S. city of their choice. They use the Biden administration's smartphone app to choose a destination. They meet with U.S. officials at land ports of entry, like international airports, where they're waved in by U.S. Customs. They then fly to any city they please. According to the Center for Immigration Studies, more than 210,000 migrants have entered America this way since January. We've effectively added Des Moines, Iowa, or Rochester, New York to our country in less than a year. No country that cares about its own citizens or the rule of law does business this way. It needs to stop. I'm Carol Platt-Liebau.
This hourly segment is brought to you by ServPro, the #1 choice in cleanup and restoration. Visit servpro.com.
8:37. Team Hochberg Traffic Center time, a service of Bank of America. Powerful digital solutions for local and global businesses so you can make every move matter. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business To learn more, Bank of America N.A., copyright 2023. The inbound Kennedy is almost 2 hours from O'Hare into the Burns Circle interchange. Outbound, 45 minutes back out to the big airport. Eichen, 90 minutes, 390 to the old post office. Stevenson, an hour and 17 from 355 into DuSable Lakeshore Drive. Dan Ryan in 36, 95th into the Burns Circle interchange. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Mainly cloudy today. Couple of showers, maybe a thunderstorm. High 67. Currently 64. Next news at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer continues next on AM 560 The Answer.
Now, from the Signature Bank Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson. America First with Sebastian Gorka, weekday afternoons at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. VDH, Victor Davis Hanson, asks the question, is the left pleased with what they've produced through their dominance of America's cultural and civic institutions? He writes that woke is a religion, not an empirically based revolution. It requires blind faith and an ideological zealotry that ignores data, smears apostates as blasphemers, and is fueled by a climate of fear as it uses public shaming, cancel culture, doxing, shadow banning, ostracism, and career destruction to bulldoze ahead. That it is now mowing down its originators may not matter much, even if for the short term the current boomeranging should be teaching leftists their ideology is unworkable. History, after all, is replete with misguided zealots who, even to the very first shot of their own firing squad, still believed in the catastrophic cultural and political upheavals they had unleashed on others. Partly woke continues then because its privileged creators still cling to the belief what I create for others certainly will not apply to me and mine. And when it does, as it is beginning to do now, they stay long in denial and continue their woke advocacy because they still hope their progressive piety and fighties will someday earn them heaven on earth. Is that what's happening? The sort of natural disintegration, the boomeranging that VDH is describing? You know, perhaps a current example is the problems that Ibram Kendi is having with his Institute for Anti-Racism at Boston University, where he's being questioned. Now it's public. He's having to lay off employees, being questioned and criticized by professors at Boston University for the management of that institute and so forth. They don't know where a lot of the money that was donated, like the $15 million from Jack Dorsey, went. So is that how it ends? Is that how there's a sort of resurgence of peaceful pluralism in America? To help us answer that question, a writer I've been following for a while, academic and writer I've been following for a while, first time he's been on the show, I believe. Richard Hanania is a research fellow at the University of Texas and the president and founder of the Center for the Study of Partisanship and Ideology. His new book gets right to the heart of this discussion, The Origins of Woke, Civil Rights Law, Corporate America, and the Triumph of Identity Politics. The Origins of Woke, Richard Hanania. Thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So before we get to the origins, just in terms of assessing where we are now, is VDH right or is he missing something?
I'm sorry, who is BDH?
Victor Davis Hanson.
Oh, Victor Davis Hanson.
He's so close to him, he gives him an acronym.
Oh yeah, no, I've heard BDH before. I wasn't listening. Was he just on the show? I'm sorry.
No, I was just referencing a piece that he wrote, sort of asking and answering the question: is the left happy with what they've wrought? And he basically says, look, there's some indication that the neo-Jacobins are starting to cannibalize themselves, but there's a long way to go. But I mean, the point he's saying essentially is the boomeranging is the beginning of the demise of this the new Marxists, if you will, and that's the way this is going, seemingly to indicate that's the way this is going to end. And I wonder if you agree with that.
Well, I mean, I see it. I see in some ways, yes. And so, like for example, in the last year or two, there's been 10 states that have done some kind of universal school choice. The backlash in red states to what's going on in the education system, for example, has been so extreme that they're doing things like giving parents the option, which is a good conservative policy to do anyway, to take their money and go elsewhere. So in that case, like yes, I think there's a real pushback. Where I live right now, California, I don't know if there's much of a boomeranging. It seems pretty ensconced. It seems pretty, in the institutions. I think the University of California university system just got rid of the SATs, ACTs because they're racist. Just going all in on equity and diversity statements and all this. And there's really nobody who's here to tell them not to do that. And there's no real backlash. So in certain ways, yeah. In other ways, no. I think it's becoming more bifurcated, like a lot of things in this country.
Well, so is part of the, I mean, and this gets to, I guess, the centerpiece of your book, the origins of woke. Is there something we're misunderstanding about the genesis of what is called woke that we need to understand in order to fully address it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you asked. So yeah, I think the origins of woke makes a bold claim, and I think it's historically justified. That a lot of the things that people worry about, wokeness, identity politics, it was really mandated from the federal government before it was part of the culture or part of institutions. So universities at the very start did not want racial quotas, for example. It was the federal government that came in and told them to start counting people based on race and sex too, and hiring and promoting on that basis. Business too. Businesses were originally told to start counting their employees, classifying them, and just to find out whether they were hiring enough people, enough minorities, and enough women. So yeah, I mean there is the civil rights law, which came out of the Civil Rights Act, which did some good things that people recognize, like ended Jim Crow. Also created a race-based system of government, and what the book does is sort of trace that history and tell you how to sort of unwind what's happened over the last 60 years.
So why does more and more of life seem like a competition to see who's the most oppressed?
Yeah, I mean, because there are financial incentives to be oppressed. If you go to your employer and you say, you are being discriminated against, one of the civil rights lawsuits are now something like 20% of all federal lawsuits. I mean, it's basically what the federal courts do is they adjudicate discrimination claims. If you don't like somebody for some other reason or someone is mean to you, you don't have a legal claim. You're not going to get rich off that. Lawyers are not going to make money off of that. And so you see these things, and you just see these complaints in the media. You see, the idea that this industry or that industry is not diverse. This is all government regulation. It's government regulation that basically forces this on companies, and then it leads to incentives to people to think of themselves in terms of categories.
So is there a particular statute or Supreme Court case that we should be focusing on that we haven't been, that needs to be unwound to unwind what you're describing and what we're all living?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So that's chapter 6 in my book. I spell out what have been sort of the worst developments of civil rights law over the years. There's a case called Griggs versus Duke Power Company in 1971, which said discrimination is not wanting to hire a person of a certain race, for example. It's anything that has a disparate impact. So if you give a test and whites do better than blacks, the business that gave that test is presumably racist, right? This has been applied to school discipline. This has been applied to fighting crime. A criminal statute is racist if it arrests too many black people relative to white people. So the Supreme Court, I think, needs to revisit this. I mean, it's about getting the right case in front of it. There's an executive order that mandates affirmative action in government contractors. I told this to Vivek Ramaswamy, and now he promises to undo that executive order on his first day in office. I'm confident that other presidents will see the wisdom. Other potential candidates who might end up in the presidency will see the wisdom of that. And there's harassment law, which goes over the top, makes it's basically functions as a corporate speech code that could be pushed back on too. So yeah, there's a lot. It's just about people understanding sort of how much of this is just sort of baked into the law.
How much? I mean, the disparate impact thing I think is really key to zero in on, because, as you say, you get a Supreme Court holding like that, and then there's just a body of administrative law and an action in the courts that follows that holding, and it creates this sort of self-propagating, cultural sinkhole, if you will, and that's what's happened. I mean, disparate impact is just a fancy way of saying equity, isn't it?
Absolutely. So people think equity is new. It's just something people started hearing them talk about 5-10 years ago. No, it's been law since 1971. That's more than half a century. And what's frightening about it, people just think of like tests. It's not just tests. It's anything, right? It's like the EEOC has gone after businesses for, asking about criminal record. That has a disparate impact. They've gone after them for, having a tardy policy that's too strict. You demand punctuality from your employees. Basically, I call it in the book, I call it the skeleton. I call civil rights law in general, but especially disparate impact, the skeleton key of the left. Because everything has a disparate impact, and what that means is you basically pick and choose, who you go after and what, and this has been a major source of power for them.
The decision in the Harvard admissions case this year, then, on the same topic, does that have the potential to be the negative composite of the Griggs case?
Yeah, right. So it's not exactly the same area of law, but it's a positive step. Corporate America, even though it doesn't pertain directly to corporate America, there's been stories that they're hiring fewer DEI officers, that they're worried, they're worried about new lawsuits, because I think they take it as a hint of like where the Supreme Court, how the Supreme Court is thinking about these things. The universities are going to be the hardest nut to crack because they're so ideologically determined. They're going to really, really try to put their thumb on the scale. You can't watch them all the time and watch everything that they do. I think when you go to corporate America, it's going to be much easier because they care about turning a profit before anything. So people ask, how big of an impact the SFFA v. Harvard decision is going to have. To be honest, it's going to depend on how long conservatives have the Supreme Court, and who the president, who wins the presidency in 2024, and which party controls the Senate, because that could be you lob an artillery shell at the enemy and they scatter for a little bit. But if you don't keep going, if you don't keep pushing the law, they'll regroup and they'll find they'll find new ways to do what they were doing before. The judiciary is just so important, and then having the executive branch itself would make a big difference because a lot of this thing is just enforcement coming directly from Washington. So those combination of conservatives in the judiciary understanding this, conservatives in the executive branch, I think we can make real headway.
It's interesting because you focus on electoral politics, essentially, in a way where a lot of other cultural critics will focus on we need to set up our own schools, we need to set up our own media outlets, build our own castles, we need to focus on culture and the platoons of democracy and less so on electoral politics. You seem to be more inclined the other way.
Well, it's both, because if you don't, because the federal government will go after you. It wasn't always legal to homeschool in this country. It was banned in most of the country. We have now more school choice, so we're sending the money directly to parents, and they're being able to take it where they want. I'm not against building your own things. I mean, we saw with the censorship on social media. Who's in power in Washington? I mean, you could see it as sort of pushing back on civil rights laws, a way of sort of giving encouragement or giving people room to breathe, giving people to build these alternative institutions. Yeah, I think these things go together.
Richard Hanania is research fellow at the University of Texas, the president and founder of the Center for the Study of Partisanship and Ideology. His new book, The Origins of Woke, Civil Rights Law, Corporate America, and the Triumph of Identity Politics. Richard Hanania, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too. Signature Bank knows that when you have a question or problem about your business, you want answers. You need someone who will pick up the phone or respond to your text. You need someone who is always there for you. That's Signature Bank. We are a team that wants to get to know you and your business. Want to be Signature Bank's next success story? Give us a call today at 773-467-5630 or visit us online at signaturebank.bank. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Oh, yeah, I'm just took that balance of nature, Dan. You're missing out. You're missing the party. Balance of nature. It helps golfers. I don't know if you saw the new ad, but there's two young gentlemen like yourself who are avid golfers who started taking balance of nature, and they claim their golf game has gotten better because they have more energy. Why are you laughing? It's true. Because you
want to hear what the handicap drop was.
Okay, you know what?
Find out.
Okay. Because when you give your body the best possible fuel, which is fruits and vegetables, you have more energy, Dan. You're stronger. You could think more quickly. You could hit the little white ball down the fairway and keep it in the middle. No, but it is real food, real science, real nutrition, and people that take it swear by it. I'm addicted to it. I love it. So get the nutrition your body needs and the nutrition your body craves. 800-246-8751, 800-246-8751. Use discount code Chicago or go online to balanceofnature.com, discount code Chicago.
Dan Proft here. When it comes to health, there are numbers every man needs to know, including our testosterone number. I recommend going to Low T Center. They make it quick and easy to get your levels checked, and it's only $25. You walk in, take a simple blood test, and with their on-site lab, you'll know your results in about 25 minutes. Low testosterone levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, can cause lack of motivation and drive. It can raise your cholesterol, cause weight gain, and loss of muscle mass. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment today. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
TV news. It's a love-hate relationship. Well, let's be honest. More hate. We agree. That's why we're different. Salem News Channel has assembled the greatest collection of conservative minds all in one place. Home to Charlie Kirk, Hugh Hewitt, Eric Metaxas, and more. There's finally a place on TV for lovers of freedom like you. Watch anytime on any screen. Free 24/7. Find what you're looking for at snc.tv. That's snc.tv.
Hi, this is Steve. I'm in Italy, away from my business. But I'm not worried about the office or my absence from it. I'm confident because I've got Turnkey on my side. They've helped me solve several problems for my business, so I can finally relax for a bit while I let the business work. Not only did Turnkey help with my IT problems, their expert team gave me a custom consultation that found additional profit centers in my company. They've helped me focus on a new direction for my business. It's not easy to relax when you own a business, but with our partnership with Turnkey, I feel confident, resolved, and ready to deliver. Now, I'm going to relax, have a Peroni, and depend on the direction Turnkey has helped me embrace. They can help your business too. Visit turnkey.pro to start a conversation today. That's turnkey.pro.
The pros at Turnkey share your values. They know IT and they know small business. They're Chicagoland's small business champions. Visit turnkey.pro to book your appointment today. That's turnkey.pro.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, I don't know if this is going to end peacefully in Evanston with the proposed Ryan Field redevelopment because you had a bunch of P-hats and male impersonators take to the streets yesterday.
Well, it wasn't that. Okay, so they started protesting, then they marched, and then they had a car caravan, and then they had a rally.
Yeah.
So it was a three-part, three-stage event, and all the people there, they looked like they smelled like hemp.
Well, here's a couple of them.
To voice their opposition to the proposed plan by Northwestern University to redevelop Ryan Field.
We firmly and completely resist and oppose the commercialization of a residential neighborhood.
The privately funded proposal to rebuild the nearly century-old stadium and rezone the area for commercial use would allow the venue to host up to 6 concerts a year and dozens of community-based events. The Evanston Chamber of Commerce formally endorsing the project today in a statement saying, in part, it will bring new visitors, partnership opportunities, and investment to Evanston at no cost to taxpayers, and frankly is a no-brainer. But the group that rallied and marched to tonight's meeting at City Hall is concerned about how this plan could impact everything from traffic to emergency response times.
Add an extra concert
2 concerts, 6 concerts, you're going to have times when those fire trucks, those ambulances get delayed.
Tonight, Northwestern says the university is in talks with Evanston to discuss a community benefits package, in addition to offering at least $2 million annually to the city in tax and fee revenue. But those against the existing offer want more say in the benefits agreement.
We want to have community-driven input and negotiating power to where that input has a meaningful result.
And I want free Bud for life. And I don't mean Bud Light. I mean small B Bud. Yeah. I don't know.
Did it end peacefully?
I don't know. I don't know if this is going to end peacefully. They seemed, pretty exercised.
Well, other people there were saying they're going to block the hospital entrance and
look,
the whole.
Look, we cannot afford a Thompson Twins concert in Evanston. I mean, the place will be up for grabs. Thompson Twins. Then that leads,
like the
that's
Indigo Girls. I mean, oh my God!
That's a gateway to Tears for Fears and this rock and roll music.
Next thing you know, Barry Manilow will show up and really put their panties in a bunch.
Not to mention, I mean, I would be thought, these, Guevara types would be focused on the principle here. That is a monument to a sex cult. That Pat Fitzgerald was running when the Northwestern football team. It should be torn down, and there should be a monument to the victims.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's what I would argue.
The cheerleader says she was sex trafficked.
That's what I would argue if I cared enough about Evanston.
I just made up a word. All right. Thank you so much for making us part of your morning, part of your lives. Thanks to Justin Kosick, technical producer, and Quinn McCarthy. We're back here bright and early tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Now into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Slick conditions causing deadly accidents this morning in and around Chicago. House Judiciary Committee members blame Democrats for violent crime spikes. WIND Chicago News Time, 9 o'clock.
He's no longer in North Korea. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The American soldier who fled to the